In a world dominated by sports podcasts, three friends team up to bring you another one. Driven by the incessant need to argue with one another, the Context Matters podcast will toe the line between what they believe and what they believe will piss off their friend. Listen and enjoy as the group chat you never wanted to read becomes the podcast you hardly want to listen to. The bits are long, the rage bait is real, and the context matters.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us on episode 13. We are now a baker's dozen episodes in, and we maybe have consistent mics. I don't know. You tell us. We'll get there. It's Monday, March 30th. I'm Bill. With me, as always, are David and JMO. How we feeling, boys?
I'm feeling so good. UConn won and Duke lost, and even better, it happened in the same game. I love March Madness. It was an absolute crazy game. If you haven't seen it, go and look at the highlights, especially the three at the end to win the whole thing. It was insane, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Crazy game right there. Sorry, Bill, what were you saying?
I was going to say it's crazy, and UConn on the same day beat both God and the Devil when they beat Notre Dame. Their girls team beat Notre Dame, and their boys team beat the Blue Devils of Duke. So God
Nice,
and
I
the
like
Devil
that.
on the same day. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm doing pretty
Let's
good.
go.
I'm excited to get into these quarterbacks and wrap this thing up. We got the top 15. It's going to be exciting. I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right.
Yeah. That's a great point. Thanks for that intro, Dave. I'm amazed Drake May made it into the top 16, but
Oh
we'll
my
round out those
God.
top 16 here in a second. So we'll finish the top 16 of our quarterback rankings heading into the 2026 season. Then we'll be talking hot topics around the NFL and sports world at large. We have the next round of Master Debater. We get into conspiracies with David's Cooky Corner, and we end the show with a little segment called Anything Else, where we touch on, you guessed it, anything else. But first, a word from our presenting sponsor, Hyatt Trucks.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable waste removal services, or worse, the weekly dump trip? Say hello to Hyatt Trucks Waste Removal, Southern New Hampshire's top choice for dependable disposal. Based in Milford, New Hampshire, they serve Hillsborough County and beyond, including Milford, Nashua, Bedford, Manchester, and Peterborough. They're a family-owned business with over 70 five-star Google reviews, are fully insured, and ready to handle any waste removal needs. They offer flexible roll-off dumpsters and are now offering 2- and 4-yard dumpsters to be picked up weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. They offer comprehensive junk removal services, hauling away furniture, appliances, yard waste, and more. But let's talk about what can really make a difference in your week. Hyatt offers weekly curbside trash pickup to Milford, New Boston, Bedford, Jaffrey, Peterborough, New Ipswich, and surrounding towns beginning at just $40 a month. With provided barrels, options for recycling, and reliable pickups on time every time. Ready to join the Hyatt Trucks family? Head to HIOTT-TRUX.com and sign up using code CONTEXT to let them know that we sent you. Hyatt Trucks, you chuck it, we truck it, making waste removal simple and stress-free.
Thank you for that, JMO. It's crazy. Every week we come on here and you and I talk right before we record, and we have to up that number of 5-star reviews that Hyatt Trucks has. So it's crazy.
Yep.
So TJ and the team over at Hyatt Trucks doing great work. So please remember, use code CONTEXT when you sign up, and please support them. So let's get into these quarterback rankings.
Let's do it.
We ended off last week with number 17, Daniel Jones. If you want to hear about our bottom half of the 32 expected starting quarterbacks, please go listen back to last week. I do have one editorial note. 23rd was CJ Stroud and 22 was Jackson Dart. I do want to just note for progenies awareness that those two...
That's not a real word. You just be saying
That
things.
is actually a real word. But those two are actually tied. So coming into today, I will try and do a better job of mentioning when people are actually tied in our rankings, because we do have a couple ties coming in today. But our first name today that we'll discuss is number 16, the guy out in San Fran. It is Brock Purdy. That's Purdy, not pretty.
I disagree. I think he's pretty. Um, I like I like Brock Purdy mainly for his consistency. I know he's had a little bit of injury history as of late, but it's always something different. I don't think he's gonna earn the tag of injury prone, but his consistency in general is just really what that San Fran offense needs because the team seems to have a great defense year in and year out. They've had a historically good running game, particularly with almost no name players, and then they get Christian McCaffrey. Um, and then ever since then, it's really taken off, and they can do a lot with him. George Kittle is obviously a huge weapon as a pass catcher, but he's a great blocker. When he's not on the field, you see a little bit of struggle from Christian McCaffrey. Um, but when he's on the field, he's also an extra target for Brock Purdy. So I don't think like as of right now, the term game manager gets thrown around a lot for Brock Purdy. I think he is either the best game managing quarterback in the NFL or slightly above that where you can't quite call him a game manager because he is accurate and he's consistent and he does all the things um and he gets his wins. So I really like him. He's the kind of quarterback that I want to build around, somebody who doesn't make a lot of turnovers, somebody who doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I know this is going long, but the last thing that I'll bring up is that he led the NFL last year in the best pressure to sack ratio in the NFL at 8.6%. So that's another good one. We talk about like being able to get rid of the ball and make a play happen even when everything's crumbling around you. So I love Brock Purdy.
I do not. I think he's so overrated. I think he's fair at what's he 16? I think he's middle of the
Yeah.
pack. I think there's a bunch of quarterbacks that would succeed with Shanahan on the 49ers. I mean, you probably have the best running back in the league, so that takes a lot of pressure off of you as a quarterback. And then last year, he didn't play that well. I think the league's kind of figuring him out. He's really undersized. It's only going to get worse as far as injury prone. He threw 20 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's kind of a turnover machine, at least last year, a little bit of liability. Like Mac Jones came in and like it was a giant flip of the script as far as like protecting the ball and making positive plays and just quarterbacking the right way when Brock Purdy's kind of cowboying it a little bit too much. But I think he just benefits a lot from the scheme and the Shanahan style, which is super quarterback friendly. So that's why I think he's fairly ranked where he is.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is always interesting. I didn't intro where we all ranked him, so I'll do that now. So coming off of off of you two talking the way you spoke of him, David actually had him the highest at 13th. JMO had him in the middle at 15th, and I had him at 17th. I do think he is pretty much just a game manager, and one of the reasons that made me put him in 17th, I actually originally thought I was going to rank him a little bit higher. But exactly what David just said, like Mac Jones came in there and honestly looked better in that system than I think Brock Purdy did. Granted, not necessarily the same sample size. And then Mac Jones wound up dealing with a couple of injuries there, probably due to the electrical substation. But exactly, you have Kittle, you have CMC, and then you have Trent Williams. Like, not to be left out of the conversation is you just have one of the cornerstones of an offensive line out there in San Fran. I don't even know if he's the best quarterback in San Fran, and that's maybe a little harsh because I think Mac Jones is one of the better, if not the best, backup currently in the NFL. We talk about like Snoop Huntley,
Yeah.
and there's a couple others that can come in and kind of barely be a downgrade or even sometimes be a slight upgrade. Not saying Snoop Huntley is because Lamar is MVP level, and we'll
Sure.
get to him later, but um, yeah, I think he is kind of just a game manager. I had him as my top guy in the needs improvement tier. Just because I think the team can improve from him. And again, he gets a lot of benefit in that Kyle Shanahan system that's just been like that's run waves in the NFL ever since Shanahan's come in. It's just an easy
Yeah.
quarterback friendly offense.
Yeah, so I mean, in general, I'd say like we all acknowledge the success and the ability that he has. He's been very accurate. He has a very high success rate. Just our ideas on how he got there is obviously different. So that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm
As
okay
far
with
as
that.
Mac Jones too, they wanted to draft I think Shanahan wanted to draft him when Mac Jones was coming out and he got overruled by John Lynch and they selected Trey Lance instead. So it's
Charger
kind of a full
great.
circle moment that Mac
Yeah.
Jones is on 49 and running that system, and that's who Shanahan wanted to run that system. So that
All right.
aspect it all
If they
worked.
want, they can have Trey Lance back. I don't want him.
All
Let's move on to number 15. We still got 15 quarterbacks ready to go. So this is actually a tie, but the first name we'll talk about, we have one person ranked him as an outlier today. So we have him as our collective 15th, but JMO and David both ranked him 17th. I'm a lot higher on him, specifically going into next season, because I think he still has a lot of things to figure out, but it's Caleb Williams. So I will just say that Caleb Williams has shown a lot of what I think only maybe 10 quarterbacks in this league, which is kind of why I put him 10th, because I think right now he's shown the least 10 quarterbacks in the league can do. He has that true star power where he can make plays that just quite simply other guys in the league cannot make.
Yeah, for better or for
Like I
worse
said, I
too.
haven't
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah, and that's why I said like I have him ranked as like the lowest of those guys with that kind of elite level talent. And I have him ranked in my tiers. He's my highest of the guy franchise quarterbacks because I think he's right now he's just a franchise quarterback. The Bears would be stupid to think about going with anybody else, but at the same
Right.
time, I think he has the talent to be elite, the talent to be kind of that top tier, but he just hasn't been able to put it all together and show it yet. But he's still young, and they showed why he was a top draft prospect last year, but they also showed why he has some limitations and sometimes just tries to do the hero play to the negative
Mhm.
effect too.
Yeah, I'm going to make this short and sweet with Caleb Williams. Last year was a much better year for him as far as completion percentage, and he finished the year at 58%. So if something happens, if something clicks, like we saw this with Josh Allen and then almost nobody else being inaccurate and learning to be accurate. If he can flip that switch and do what Josh Allen did and become accurate, he's going to be a superstar. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm on the side of I'm not sure he can do it. I don't know if he has the tools to do it. He certainly has the coaching. He definitely has the offensive scheme, and he has a plethora of weapons, even without DJ Moore. So all the stars are aligning. It's just going to come down to him. And I'm just kind of on the side of I don't think he can do it. Everything revolves around that percentage of like, can you complete passes? Can you get the ball somewhere near in the general vicinity of your playmakers to let them make the play? And I'm not quite sure that he can, but I hope he does because he is electric. He's fun to watch. He's got all kinds of crazy tools, the scrambling ability, as long as he doesn't put himself in sack territory. All of that is all positive. So I would not be surprised if I'm sitting here next year saying, I was wrong. Caleb Williams flipped the switch and he did great. I'm just not willing to bet on it.
Yeah, I still think it's a little too soon. I bet in like a few more years he'll kind of start calming down. He also has the best line in the league, I'm pretty sure. But I
It's up
think he's
there.
guilty of being on the Bears because I'm pretty sure in the history of the Bears they've never had a 4,000-yard passer, and he
Correct.
almost broke that last year. So it's like, what if he breaks it? Is he like the best Bears quarterback ever? And we're over here putting him 15th, which is like totally in a fair position.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is definitely
Yeah.
erratic. His
50,
QBR is in the
58
trash.
yards away from breaking that. He was 58 yards away from breaking 4,000.
And JMO knows that because JMO placed a bet on him week 17 to hit 4,000 yards and did not.
I did place a bet for him to hit that 4,000 because I like betting on success stories. It's fun. And I lost money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, he's going to benefit from Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was the hottest name last year as far as head coaching goes for his just offensive mindset. So I think he definitely needs improvement, but he has high potential, but he also has high risk. So it's just a matter of time with him.
Yep.
For sure. Completely agree. And you're right. Top tier offensive line. They were third ranked to end the year behind the Broncos and the Colts. On to our next game, which is 14th, tied with Caleb Williams. David, you're the outlier this time. So JMO and I both ranked him 13th. David had him all the way back in 18th. It is Tampa Bay's own Baker Mayfield. Dave, what makes you think he's bottom half caliber?
I love Baker. I loved him coming out. I've always rooted for him.
Every one of your rankings is like so backwards based on how you talk about them. Like, Brock Purdy, you're like, I don't think he's good. I think he's awful, and you ranked him 13th ahead of Jeremiah. And
Yeah, but all right.
I
Well, I'm about to
love
get into it.
Baker.
Like, I have high hope.
Okay,
Like,
go
I
ahead.
like him as a person. I loved him on the Browns, but it's kind of coming into fruition when like he's not on a stacked team. He's not really anything special. And there's a lot of other guys here that can do a lot more with a lot less. And it seems like he needs Pro Bowlers all on the outside, all on the offensive line. He needs a great OC. He needs to really, and he might be making $60 million a year coming up. He's about to sign like the biggest contract in quarterback history coming up. He's definitely not worth that. Yeah, last year the whole team fell apart after they lost Mike Evans, which is it happens, favorite wide receiver, but injuries happen and you got to man the ship and get it on track and he just collapsed underneath. He's a turnover machine, he's undersized. I like he's got that dog in him, but yeah, he's a guy that can make a bad play worse more times than not and I just hate to see it.
I mean, I'm a big Baker guy, even though I'm not supposed to be because I'm a Saints fan, right? But like you talked about, just that dog in general, like when um, Kevin Stefanski got his new job and Baker said, "I can't wait to play this guy twice a year." That gets me so fired up. It's just I love it so much. I love the way that he plays. He added a lot more rushing to his game last year than what he's done in the past. So like the talent's still there. He's getting a little bit older, but he's not old, right? So I think that Baker can still do it. I can't explain what happened to him last year. As far as like not being able to connect, especially with Amika Egbigbu, not not being able to figure that out after having figured it out in the beginning. That was tough to watch, but I mean, as we talked about, I love Chris Godwin. I think he's going to get Chris Godwin more involved. I think two things can be true. Yes, he needs those superstars to play really well, but also um, he elevates those superstars when he's playing to his top potential, and some other guys don't. They just kind of ride them. So I think they just mesh really well together. The biggest thing about Baker, I feel so bad. He has never had, going back to college, he's never had the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. Not ever one time. So and it's not going to happen again this year, but he has to learn a new system over and over and over and over. And I'm sure that's got to be tough, but he's
Like
a dog. He
Jalen
fights
Hurts.
through it. Yeah. I don't know. I like Baker. I like when he's winning and he's clicking, he looks very, very good. I think his season last year with the 4,500 yards and 40 passing touchdowns is probably the best season he'll ever have. I don't think he'll get back to that, but I think he could get closer. I think somewhere in the vicinity of 4,000, 40, 140, 200 yards and then 30 touchdowns would be a good spot for him. But I see what you're saying because I think before then he's never had a season where he had more than 30 touchdowns. So we'll see. Time will tell, but I like the trajectory of where he's at 30 years old, and I think that he still has plenty left in the tank.
Soon to be 31. I think it's like halfway into next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to say other than he definitely has that dog in him. I think he's an average quarterback that can sling it and also just sometimes comes up big in the big moments. And I think we think a little bit more fondly than he is because of that. But I think he's a truly run of the mill mid tier quarterback. David kind of mentioned Jalen Hurts. I will just remind him that we talked about the trash quarterbacks last week.
Well, no, just the
On
whole
to number
new OC every year. Jalen Hurts hasn't had an OC for
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
got
true.
it. He also can't throw like a 14-yard comeback.
If we I was going to say if we have a chance to talk about, I won't bring it up now, but just the idea of like this is why you hire an offensive minded head coach and not a defensive minded head coach, but that's a topic for another time.
For sure.
for sure.
Wonderful tease. Moving on to number 13. We have Jordan Love. So I ranked him 12th, Dave ranked him 12th, JMO ranked him 16th. So no real outliers there. I kind of look at Jordan Love like Caleb Williams light, and I mean that in both directions. I don't think he can make the star powered plays that Caleb Williams can make, but I also don't think he makes the like just straight up boneheaded plays that Caleb Williams makes. I think he plays kind of within his box
Yep.
a lot better than Caleb Williams, but he also just doesn't have the elite talent to play outside of that either. I think he is true to form, kind of that second level franchise quarterback that Green Bay will be happy that they have, except they're never going to reach that true Super Bowl contender status with a Jordan Love behind the helm. But who knows? Sam Darnold won last year, so I guess you
That's a
never
good
know.
point. Yeah, I put Jordan Love very much in the same basket as Brock Purdy. I think they're very, very, very similar. They're next to each other in the rankings for me. I just barely put Brock ahead just because I think he's a little bit more consistent, and Jordan Love has had a little bit more injuries than Brock Purdy has. The biggest thing with Jordan Love is like I think that he has a better ability than Brock Purdy, but I just don't think that it's going to play out. Ever since they got Josh Jacobs, they've been so run heavy, and they love the way that offense works due to that. And even when Josh Jacobs isn't in the game, they're still moving forward with that run heavy approach. So it's like, it's not really a question of whether or not Jordan Love can do it to me. It's just, I don't think in this Packers organization right now, I don't think he's going to necessarily have the chance. And he's another guy that like really should and kind of needs to be getting in rhythm to continue to be great. He can definitely chuck it, and he can go like, there's not a lot of guys that I think can throw for 400 yards in a game, and I think that Jordan Love could, given the right opportunity and the right weapons. But every year, his wide receiving core is getting more and more diminished, and again, they have that run heavy approach. So I think that the optics of that is probably why I ranked him a little bit lower. Talent wise, I think he could be higher. There's an argument to be made, but that's just not how they're playing him right now, and I don't think it's going to change.
Yeah, statistically, he had a pretty decent season, surprisingly to me, because I don't think he does anything that well. I think his best ability is just handing the ball off to Josh Jacobs, but they also have no weapons on that team, so it's really tough to judge him as a talent when his best weapon's like the tight end, and he got hurt pretty early. I think Matt LaFleur,
Yep.
the head coach, and Jordan Love, they have to like go back to the drawing board and like figure out an offense that isn't isn't like telling, because I'm pretty sure that
So
was the
predictable, yeah.
game. Wasn't that the game where the defense that they were playing were calling out their plays? Is that what that was Josh Jacobs after they
Yep.
lost? Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
and then in that game, Matt LaFleur, the defense needs help. He's just buried in his play sheet like an offensive minded coach. You want to talk, but he's on the
Sure.
sideline like doing plays, and it's like, dude, like half your team needs help. So you don't love that. It affects Jordan Love. He needs help. He doesn't play that well when he really needs to. And I think, yeah, the Packers are just going to always be what the Packers are in my lifetime, which is good, not great. They're good enough to make the playoffs, and maybe they'll win a game, but they're not going to go on a serious run.
Yeah. Hey, good job not mixing up Mike and Matt LaFleur. You nailed it, buddy.
Why did I?
No, I'm just saying. I'm impressed that you
Oh,
didn't.
it's a first for me. I was surprised myself sometimes.
Yeah. I think he had a great game. So you mentioned that it doesn't necessarily come up big in big games. He had a great game against the Bears when they lost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think
Can
he
you say
threw
that
for
again,
like
but
4 touchdowns.
slower? I know it's just funny. He had a great game when they
Okay.
lost. Yeah, but I mean
He threw for 4 touchdowns and like over 300 yards. Because I
Yeah.
remember, like we were talking about, I don't remember who played the Bears next after that, but we were
The
talking
Rams?
about how I was gonna say,
Yeah.
was it the Rams? Because I said if
Yeah.
Jordan Love hung up 320, imagine what my MVP will do. Yeah, okay, I think I
Yeah.
remember, Yeah, I think I think like Jeremiah said, I think he does have the talent to be a great quarterback. Just he kind of like plays within that box that he's given to play within. But anyway, on to our number 12. So this is another outlier quarterback. GMO ranked him 10th. David ranked him 11th. I had him ranked all the way back in 16th. I will remind everyone as context, because I will put myself on the hot seat for being the outlier here, that I am looking at this going into next season. So this is coming off the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold. So I think both of you maybe have a little bit of recency bias when it comes to Sam Darnold here. I think he led the league in interceptions in the regular season. He was inefficient as he has been his entire career, and then he put together a really good postseason. He was absolutely electric in the Super Bowl against the Rams. Because everyone knows that was the true Super Bowl, was the Seahawks versus the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And then, yeah, I think he put together a good, feel good end of last season. But he's still Sam Darnold. He hasn't really proven to me that he's even on the cusp of being a top 10 quarterback like where both of you guys have. I do have him in that tier list of franchise guys. Just because at this point, you can't really say anything other than Sam Darnold needing to be a look at as a franchise guy. But I mean, we're coming off just 2 years ago when he was like damaged goods going to a Minnesota team. So I know he went 14-3, I guess, in back-to-back seasons, or 14-2. But he is
14-3.
still just Sam Darnold at the end of the day. I can't get over that, and his performances haven't let me get over that.
Such a hater.
He's been winning. But
You-
his performances aren't.
It's the most
He
hater
led the league
take.
in interceptions. Led the
Okay,
league
so-
in interceptions.
Slight correction. No, he did not. Geno Smith
Okay.
led the league in interceptions, obviously because it's Geno Smith. Then Tua, then Sam Darnold.
Okay, third.
But
in the league in
I get what
then
you're saying.
Justin
like, yes.
Herbert.
What? Yeah, I was just gonna say you stole my thunder.
Yeah.
And then Justin Herbert. So yes, it's not a good group to be mixed in with, especially that Herbert guy. But you've got so
We'll
yes,
get
you
to
had
him later, don't worry.
Geno with 17, Tua with 15, Sam Darnold with 14, Herbert with 13, 9 with 12. But then you have like Trevor Lawrence with 12. So part of that sling it mentality is going to come with interceptions one way or another, unfortunately, unless it's Aaron Rodgers in his prime who just was allergic to throwing interceptions. But my biggest thing, like you already touched on, the reason that I can't consider him just Sam Darnold is because he had 14 wins in the NFL 2 years in a row with different coaching staff, different set of weapons, different set of circumstances, and still did it. So that is very, very difficult to do once, and he did it twice back to back. So I'm gonna stay on that, stay on that role. He's hot. He's gonna stay hot. So that's why I like him. He's doing the stuff right. Yeah, you like that? So he's doing what he needs to do as a quarterback. He's playing within his means, but a lot of that comes with pushing the ball downfield. He's not a game manager. He's not just taking what's given to him. He's trying to make plays. Now, that helps when you have one of the best wide receivers in the league in JSN, and a good defense to back you up and a coach that gives you all the confidence in the world. Right. And I understand that, but I still think a lot of that is Sam Darnold making those decisions. He's not seeing ghosts anymore. He's not scared. He's just an objectively good quarterback.
Yeah, it took him a few years to figure out the league, the defenses, and things like that. So he's finally comfortable, and we're finally seeing him at what he can be, and he could probably even be better. But saying that he's unproven and putting him at 18, I mean, so yeah, so say he
16.
does. Oh, okay. Regardless, he just won the Super Bowl, and he went on a pretty good playoff run.
And I'm not ranking him based on last year. I'm ranking him based on next year.
Okay. So he had a pretty good run. Maybe I'm a little recency bias. It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like without Clint Kubiak, but I ranked him where I did because at worst case, he's proving he's a winner. That's the name of the game. You got to win games. I don't care how you play. As long as you win, you win. And he did it. He won a Super Bowl because of it. So therefore, he's got to be close to 10 because there's a lot of quarterbacks that put up all these numbers and they can't win a game. So
yeah, I mean,
something.
there's 53 people on the roster. Not every Super Bowl is won predominantly by the quarterback. Like I understand it's the most important position in sports. However, that does not mean that just because the Seahawks won a Super Bowl that he's a top 10 quarterback. And you don't think so either. You ranked him 11th. But my greater overall point is like just because he won a Super Bowl, that gave him a bump on my rankings. I probably would have had him lower if he didn't win the Super Bowl. So I even have some recency bias in there too. I just think 11th and 10th is kind of crazy. But speaking of 11th and 10th, let's move on to 11th. In 11th, we have Jared Goff. So kind of still on that game manager fringe guy mentality. I ranked him 11th. David ranked him 10th, and JMO ranked him 14th. So JMO, you're a
Yep.
little bit lighter on Goff than we are, although not quite to the point of being an outlier. What are your thoughts on Mr. Jared Goff?
So Jared Goff to me is the right in that category with Brock Purdy as far as like game manager, probably the best game manager in the league, but still game manager. He's got a ton of weapons. I'm not really going to hold what he did with the Rams against him, like in general, when talking about him, because, he was young and everything that kind of transpired with that team and that set of coaches and whatever. But as of late, he puts up good numbers. And I think so much of that has to do with the surrounding cast. And I think like moving forward, like he cannot play outdoors. All of his big games, every single one of them is in a dome. He cannot play outside, and he's really bad on the road. He really can't handle it on the road either. So if he's at home in a dome, put your life savings on him having a good game. It's probably going to happen. But, that up and down, that streakiness, it's just not settling well with me. And that's why I don't put him above other quarterbacks, because a lot of these other quarterbacks that we have talked about and we're going to talk about, they don't care if it's raining or snowing, like they're going to perform. And for me, it's like Jared Goff has to have the perfect set of circumstances. And even within that, it's all he has to do is get the ball to the 17 playmakers that he has on the team for it to go right. I don't think, like, if you're dragging and dropping him onto another team, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Like, I don't think that he's going to play this well on another team. So I just don't really care for that aspect of his game. I think, like I said, he's inconsistent. A lot of it depends on the weather. He's got crazy weapons, and at the end of the day, he's just eh. He's just an quarterback to me. That's all. And I understand like the stats. Like he's thrown for a lot of yards and played really well, but it's so systematic to me. I think it's so obvious that he's just a dude.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel like he is surrounded by so much talent and really has been his whole career. Um, and yeah, I mean, just that team out in Detroit. We talked about him when we were ranking wide receivers. We talked about like the compliment that Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, did we overrate him because of he can just get so many targets, so many better targets because teams can't focus on him. See his
Right.
Laporte and JMO and Gibbs and so that works for the quarterback too, and that's why he is putting up those big games. So I completely agree. However, he just season in, season out, like does put up great numbers. Like he's
That's
kind
true.
of that fringe guy. Granted, it's crazy when you look at that trade that the Rams did with the Lions a few years back, and you look at Stafford for Goff, and then also the Lions got so many picks, and you look at who those picks turned into, and yet you're still
Right.
looking at that going, the Rams won that trade. The Rams would do that trade
Yeah.
again in a heartbeat.
Right.
And it's like, which says a lot when it's quarterback for quarterback and some great weapons that Detroit wound up taking with those picks. And that's
Yep.
obviously a lot of that's like hindsight bias because the Rams did win. But at the same time, it's interesting that to get over the hump, they had to trade Jared Goff away.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
not
point.
as low on him as you guys are. Trust me. He's goofy looking. He's a goofy guy. He moves weird. He's not, just watching
I
him isn't
mean,
anything special. But like he threw for
he looks
34
like Ryan
touchdowns last year.
Gosling. I don't know how you can say that when he looks like Ryan Gosling, but okay.
Yeah, like a Market Basket brand, not sponsored.
First of
But
all,
I
Just Market Basket.
think honestly
Market
last year was
Lowe's
probably his
brand.
most impressive year because they lost Ben Johnson, they got a new offensive coordinator, and they stunk up the joint. And he put up really good numbers for not having a quality OC. And then Dan Campbell even called plays, and he's a meathead. So like they had no idea what they were doing offensively.
how
I don't
dare
even
you?
know. Like in the building, it must have been like a big disaster about who's leading meetings, who's doing this, who's doing that, because they didn't even know
But
who was
does it
calling plays
matter
half
when
the
you have
time.
all that talent?
Well, that's the
It
big thing
does
is that
matter.
once
You need a coach. You need a guy that who's calling plays. It's not like Peyton and Brady where they can like audible into like these guys need like play calling.
But you
Once,
have guys who
once,
can win any rep at any time in Gibbs, in St. Brown, in Tesla, and even in JMO. Like
I think
Jamison Williams is nothing to sneeze
I think
at.
they were guilty of that mindset, and then they hired just a guy as an OC, and then they finished 9-8 because they just couldn't compete with these high-powered offenses with great offensive minds. You said it yourself; they're all becoming head coaches. You gotta
yeah.
get the next guy,
Once
the
Dan
next
Campbell
offensive mind.
started calling plays, Jamison Williams took off and played the way that he was supposed to be playing all year. So play calling does have a big effect on it for better or worse. So I will say that. But again, I mean, it's kind of like, Jared Goff. Is Jared Goff not allowed to throw to Jamison Williams unless he's strictly told to? Like, just
Yeah.
he's fast. He's fast. Maybe throw him the ball, even if coach is like, the design play is here. If you see something, make a judgment call. I think he's like, but dad didn't say so I can't.
There's
I
also,
don't
like,
know.
who knows what the concepts are and what, like, the routes run are. If Jameson Williams, like, he's obviously super fast, but if he's running the wrong routes for his speed and size, then he's not gonna see the ball
Yeah,
anyway, so it's stuff like
that's
that. Their
probably
run
true.
game was atrocious for a while. Their Sonic and Knuckles were nicknamed Ass and Cheeks because they disappeared in big games, and they looked awful. So, yeah, the Lions last year, just they were in dumpster
Nice.
fire, so he was the only guy that cared, I feel like, and consistently, like, proved it every week.
All right. Well, the
Okay.
window's open. We can swear as much as we want on this episode now.
I know, right?
Well, I mean, you gotta throw that. A nickname like that is so funny. You can't not say it. What am I gonna say?
It's
Button
true.
cheeks?
I mean, you can. we
Yes.
haven't done it yet, so
Literally, yes, but
it is
that's fine.
possible. So moving into the next one. So everybody break out your baking materials at 10th. You both ranked him number 7. I'm the outlier. I ranked him 14th. We have Drake the Cupcake schedule May. So
Oh my
I
god.
will sit on the hot seat here, being
Well, we
that I
know how
ranked
you
him
feel about
7
him. It's
spots
just gonna be like
behind him.
wah wah wah.
Here's
Get the
my thing,
tissues.
right?
Yeah, let's go.
Here's my honest thoughts on why I ranked him 14th. Everybody above him has done what they've done for years in this league. Although looking at who I have ranked above him, I guess Jordan Love, maybe not for years in this league. But other than Jordan Love, for years in this league, and they haven't done it against the easiest schedule in 30 years. Like Drake May has had one very good year against absolute cupcakes. And if he didn't fold in the playoffs, like honestly, if they lost to the Chargers first round of the playoffs, but he balled out and it was a game for game mentality, like a high scoring shootout. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. If that's what it wound up being, I would probably rank him a lot higher. But the last I saw of him, and maybe this is recency bias, he was pooping down his leg once that cupcake schedule was behind him. So I don't care that they made the Super Bowl, because again, we've been over how that trail went, and that had nothing to do with the way Drake May played. As a matter of fact, it was outside of the way Drake May played that they actually made it, and they needed to overcome the way Drake May was playing. So I really struggled to rank him higher than that. He looked great this season when they were playing the Jets twice. He looked great this season when they were playing Miami twice. He looked great this season when they were playing a 4th ranked division schedule. I will be very interested now that they have to play a first place division schedule and see how that he does in his 3rd year.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I guess I'll hop in. Billy, you're just unreal. Because like his talent around him sucks. They heavily rely on the run because they know they're inept at wide receiver. They got Stephon Diggs because he was the last girl at the bar, and they overpaid him because nobody wanted to pay for the Patriots. So that's just what he had to deal with. It was his first year in McDaniel's system. I didn't rank him super high because, the schedule was easy, and we haven't seen him put a team on his back and win games, especially when they matter. A lot of guys haven't. The guys I ranked above him do. So I think you have like Caleb Williams above him. That's absurd. Because Drake May was way more efficient. Their schedules weren't that far off, because the Bears have been off over the
Caleb
past few
Williams was
years.
better in the playoffs.
But But Drake May was
Yeah.
all
Straight
pro,
up?
not almost all pro or all pro level. He was actually all pro. Yeah, for the record, guys, when Billy says
Against
the
Cupcake.
Chargers are getting all pro tackles back, he just means the
All pro
level. He
level.
doesn't actually
All pro
mean
level.
they're all pro. That's like saying like they're getting MVP tackles, but they never won an MVP. So that's
It's talent.
Yeah.
side
It's
note.
talent. It's
Yeah,
subjective.
it's just votes and stats. But he had an unreal year last year. He had MVP votes. Yeah, the schedule wasn't that great, but to put him 14th, that's absurd. You can go, Jim.
Yeah. Second place in MVP votes in his second year in the NFL. 4,400 passing yards, 35 total touchdowns for a sophomore season, and he didn't even play his full rookie year. We're talking about somebody who is absolutely buying away, doing better than their projections, doing more than everybody thought he was going to do. And the biggest thing with Drake May is his deep throw accuracy. Last year was absolutely bonkers. If he's throwing a ball more than 20 yards, it is the most accurate in the NFL, and it's not even close. We've talked about it in our group chat. I think that out of everybody in the NFL, Justin Herbert throws the prettiest ball. There's nobody that throws a ball that looks as pretty as Justin Herbert's. But when it comes to accuracy, there's nobody that throws a more accurate deep ball than Drake May. And he does it over and over and over. And that is really, really hard to teach. All the other little stuff, he can work a little bit more in the intermediate, but he does all right there. He's good in the short area. I think that the offensive line was a big problem for him, but moving forward, I'm so excited to see what he can do in this league. Bring on the hard schedule. He's going to do just fine. That accuracy isn't going to disappear. It'll get worse, but it won't disappear. Yes, the level of talent that he was playing wasn't the best, but correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't play any high school teams. He didn't play any college teams. He did, in fact,
I don't know about
play
that.
NFL teams all year. So, and we talked about it like, yeah, they had the easiest schedule of all time. But if you look at the 5 teams below them that had the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth easiest schedule of all time, did they go to the Super Bowl? No. Did they do all this? No. So Drake May, absolute stud. He's going to continue to be an absolute stud. He's only going to get better. And I understand the competition is going to get more difficult. So statistically, maybe not as good as last year was, but you're going to see it. You're going to watch the film and be like, this guy is a baller.
Yeah, the Patriots still didn't do a lot of what the Patriots do. They were very reserved offense last year because it was Drake May's first year in that system. And then like the common opponents is totally just thrown out the window with your weak schedule argument, which is he outplayed every quarterback with good common opponents as well. So it's like you put him up against Josh Allen and they're like, what, 10 common opponents? He slayed him in everything. You put him up with Matt Stafford and his common
How did
opponents.
Matt Stafford look against the Seahawks the 2 weeks before Drake May played him? And how did Drake May look against the Seahawks?
That's all I hear.
That's a
Nice.
common opponent. That's the most recent common opponent for both teams. How did Matt Stafford look? How did Drake May look?
I hope Matt Stafford looks better. He's like 50 years old, and he won MVP. So there's a reason
It's a
for all
great
this.
job. Way to change the argument. Anyway, just to put a little bit more realism behind it, and then we can put this to bed.
Yep.
JMO, when you said that like he's playing above his projections and all that fun stuff, I completely agree. And that's why I think this year we'll see a reversion to the mean. And that's what I'm projecting for this year. I think he will struggle against those better teams this year. I truly, honestly think he will. And that's why I have him ranked where I do. He might prove me wrong. Again, I'm not a Patriots hater. I'm not a believer in Drake May, but I'm not a Patriots hater. So
I'm a Drake May hater.
I don't care if he does well. Although I will say, like, the Patriots going from a dynasty to having like 5 years of like mediocrity back to like a dynasty level team would absolutely crush my existence and soul. So while I'm
Fair.
not a Patriots hater, that would like suck the life out of me. Let's move on. So number 9, we all ranked him 9th. So this is a perfect ranking across the board. He's our consensus number 9. We all ranked him 9. It's Trevor Lawrence. So he had an interesting year last year where he was kind of mediocre for most of the year and then absolutely caught fire towards the end of the year. I remember, speaking of recency bias, there were people like week 15, I think it was, that were starting to say like maybe Trevor Lawrence is a nod for MVP. He never did. That was just crazy. But he is maybe the best head of hair in the NFL. And
Yeah.
just he's a very good quarterback. I don't really have too many other notes on him. I don't think his ceiling's as high as a lot of the guys I ranked above him. But I also don't think his floor is Mike Tyson popping
You
through.
can do it.
I don't think his floor is all that low is all that low either. So I kind of think that's exactly right where he needs to be, kind of that teetering on elite, teetering on franchise guy, like kind of right on that cusp.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he played every game. He played a lot of plays in that fast-paced offense. He definitely showed a lot. He hit 4,000 yards. He showed a lot with his feet. For me, it's like he's right here because you have the duality of Trevor Lawrence in that he played phenomenal last year. He was, especially by the end of the year, he was making all the throws, doing all the things. And you would think that he's with no real system changes happening. You think he's going to continue to do that next year. But we've seen this story before a little bit with like Bryce Young 2 years ago had a really good end of the season run of like 8 games that he looked really well and didn't just pick it up the next year. And so I do not want to discredit what he's done. And I like to think just by watching the way that he played, it felt like something is different inside of him. Like he's playing better, making better reads. It wasn't luck dependent. It wasn't a superstar taking over like Brian Thomas Jr. did last year. It was all on the back of Trevor Lawrence. The only reason I don't have him higher is that we never saw this for the 4 years that he played in the NFL before this. So it's hard to think that he can keep it going, but I'm gonna bring in that recency bias of like, I really didn't see any flaws in his game. Um, that, the things that make me nervous are the things that used to make me nervous about Trevor Lawrence. I didn't really see this year. He was a lot more calm, composed, and everything that goes with that. So I can't rank him any higher because of what I've seen for 4 years leading up to this, but I really can't rank him any lower because he looked that good last year.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, he's just guilty of being the number one pick. As unfortunate that is, he coming out of the draft, he was the next Andrew Luck, the next John Elway, like this. He won the Heisman's, he won national championships, he was the best quarterback every year he was in college, like hands down, not even close. And then he goes to Jacksonville, like just this loser organization that nobody really wants to play for. Like he probably should have Eli Manning to himself and got out. Sorry, Bill.
At least no
Yeah.
income tax.
Yeah, but so I give him credit for staying there, and then Liam Cohen coming in. They finally mesh. He finally has a good offensive mind there. And yeah, I think he's finally getting into the zone of what he should be. He should be a top 5 quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind. So I think they just struggled early last year with the new offense. Obviously, they had to bring in Jacoby Myers to shore up the wide receivers. And once that happened, he played phenomenal. So if he keeps riding his trajectory of last year, he should be a lot higher in our ranking coming up.
Mm-hmm. And David loves to talk about winners, like somebody who can just come in and win the game. Trevor Lawrence was 53-3 in high school. And you're like, okay, well, everybody was the best. Everybody in the NFL was the best player on their high school team, right?
Especially
So
Logan
whatever.
Paul.
Yeah. And then, he goes to college and he was 34-2 in college. This guy lost 5 games in high school and college put together. Now, I know Billy's rolling his eyes, and this is kind of Billy's moment to say, see, none of that matters because now you're in the NFL with the big boys. But the reality of it is he's used to winning, and anybody, like we all know that guy, it's usually the coach's kid. Shout out to everybody who's a coach's kid. That guy sucks. He sucks to be around, but he's so good. He's just, far and away better than everybody else around him, and he does not like to lose. And Trevor Lawrence truly does not like to lose. So he strikes me as somebody that whatever clicked last year, whatever is working, he's going to be in the lab. He's going to be studying film, and like whatever happened last year, we need to keep this going. Like I'm sure nobody wants to lose, but there are people who hate it more than others. And I think Trevor Lawrence hates losing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him keep going on this streak.
I actually like it. I think it's fun to lose. No. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I feel like nobody in the NFL really likes losing. I think I get your point. There's a difference in
It's a
mentality.
difference.
I think
Yeah.
well, and I was just gonna say one thing that absolutely gets me is like when David mentioned what AJ Brown was saying the other day about um meeting your targets and like that's my legacy, not necessarily winning. Like that's an interesting thing to say. I'll just end it there. So I
Sure.
get what you're saying. There's different levels of it. But I do think everybody at that level just really
Not Anthony
wants it.
Richardson when he took that playoff because he was
Yeah.
tired. Trevor Lawrence could never. He would die on the field.
Fair enough. Okay. So at number 8, we have another outlier. So David, it's your turn on the hot seat. JMO had him all the way up in 5th. I matched him at 8th. David had him in 14th. So it is coming off an injury, Mr. Jaden Daniels. Dave, why do you have him in 14th?
Oh, you guys know why I'm at it. He is my Jalen Hurts. Okay, like we just talked about Drake May. I think I think them two are very similar into how their sophomore slash Drake May was a year later, but an offensive coordinator, lightning in a bottle. Nobody's seeing what they could do. I think him losing Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a major downfall because Cliff knows that style of quarterback. He's not a traditional quarterback. He's really small. He's always hurt now, which is also like a massive problem. So when he does play, you got to hold your breath every hit he takes. They still do way too many designed runs with him. He has great arm talent when he's healthy. He can make like those explosive plays, but I'm just not sold on him being healthy and doing what like the Commanders had a really lucky year that year. If you want to talk about like schedule strength and all that, they won like 6 games by like under 3 points, and that was like the fail Mary from the Bears and all that. So I can't see that success repeating from his rookie year. Kind of like RG3. Honestly, he's just an RG3 to me. It's sad, but that's who I kind of relate him to.
Yeah. So a couple things for me. Do I love Jaden Daniels because he played for LSU? Yes. Do I love Jaden Daniels because he's on my dynasty team?
Dynasty
Yes.
team.
But am I blinded by all that? Well, yes.
Yes.
But outside of that, like,
At
yeah,
least you
I
can
mean,
admit it.
it's true.
Some
He's
guys are
listed
blinded
at
here and they won't.
That's a good point. He's listed at 6'4", 210 pounds. That makes him like taller than Lamar and like a little bit heavier than Lamar, and they don't look like that. So I don't think he's quite that big. So he's not small necessarily. He's definitely skinny. My whole thing with Jaden Daniels is there's a couple things I really like about him. He is kind of the first person to be taking advantage of the technology of his time in the sense of like when he was at LSU, he did this really cool thing where he would do a lot of training with VR goggles and he would have basically running simulations, but doing it at 1.5 times speed or 2 times speed to get him ready for the NFL. And he started doing the same thing in the NFL, which is just a really cool way to get like that's why the game didn't look too fast for him as a rookie. I think a lot of it was because of that training. And he knew exactly what he was training for. He was like the number one issue with rookies is the speed of the game. And he's like, what can I do to try and overcome that? And that's what he went after because he wants to win. So I love what he can do on the ground. I mean, obviously we kind of have to go off his rookie year because he didn't do a whole lot last year. He played probably more games than people remembered, and it was a little bit of tough sledding.
More
but
than he probably
his
should have.
yeah, he loves getting hit. Like he's Cam Scatterbo, I swear to God. Like he takes the biggest, most unnecessary hits for no reason, and I need him to stop doing that. But his rookie year, he had 3,500 passing yards, 25 total touchdowns, or 25 passing touchdowns. And I think he had 6 rushing touchdowns on top of it. He had a 69% completion rate. Nice. Which is really cool, especially for a rookie. Like you just don't typically see that, especially for a mobile quarterback, because you always get those like with Lamar, like he's just a running back kind of thing. Very good completion rate. And he broke the NFL rookie record with 891 rushing yards. And he led the league with 100.1 passer rating. So he is the best dual threat quarterback that's in the league outside of Josh Allen. I'm going to put him above Lamar as far as dual threat abilities. He's not a better runner than Lamar, but runner and passer combined, I'm putting Jaden Daniels above Lamar in that category, um, by a hair. I know you're going to say,
That's
why isn't it on
wild.
your ratings? Because there are other things on the ratings that I have Lamar up higher for that. But and I love Josh Allen, but Jaden Daniels is that dude. You guys are going to see it this year. I don't care that the schedule is going to be more difficult than it was his rookie year. I don't care that he's coming off of an injury. We're going to look at this and be like, dude, he is the best, one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the league. I guarantee it.
That's crazy. I have 8th, so I'm like closer to you than I am to David, but I don't know. That's a lot that you're putting on him.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. You guys touch on him, like Dave. I feel like you touch on every downside of Jaden Daniels I can think of. JMO, you touched on every high side of Jaden Daniels I can think of. I just think he's. I don't know if I have a ceiling as high as you do, JMO. Like calling him a better dual threat than Lamar, I think is insane because people are extremely disrespectful of Lamar when they call him a dual threat because he's actually a really good passer of the football.
He
And I think
is.
a lot of people don't give him credit for that. And he's a very good, and like most mobile quarterbacks, you can say this about, but I'll say even compared to most mobile quarterbacks, he's a very good thrower of the football on the run. Like
Yeah.
he can throw very well in scramble drill rather than some mobile quarterbacks who have to like stop, get a good footwork underneath them, and then make the pass just to be able to go on the run to a pass. So I think that's absolutely an insane comment saying that he's a better dual threat than Lamar. But
Yep.
we'll get to Lamar, and spoiler alert, it won't be all that close. But let's get on to our next name. So in 7th, we have Dak Prescott. So JMO, you're the outlier, so you're on the hot chair today. I have him at 7th, so I rank matched again. David, you had him at 8th. JMO all the way back in 11th. That's not a crazy outlier as far as outliers go, so I'm not gonna beat you up too much. But interesting outside the top 10. And I understand the wins necessarily haven't been there for the Cowboys, but completely not taking into account the team dynamic. Why do you have him outside your top 10?
I think for me is the biggest thing is that there are older quarterbacks and I understand that, but he's 32, but he's like an old 32. He's been hit a lot and you've seen it and you've seen the injuries. His psyche is a little damaged just from being on the Cowboys. That's something that kind of comes with it. I don't discount his ability to throw the ball. Like I will honestly, I'll probably whatever his passing yards are, whatever the over under is for that in the offseason, I'm probably going to bet the over because, I mean, year in, year out, he's throwing for close to, if not over 4,000 yards every single year. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again. It's just for him, like over the last couple of years, the mistakes have been getting a little bit more evident. It kind of ebbs and flows where when he was younger, he made a lot of mistakes and then he cooled off and really wasn't making too many. And now we've seen an uptick for a couple of years in a row now. I think that he's starting to fall off. And once quarterbacks or once players in general start to fall off, it's kind of hard to come back from that. Um, although there's plenty of analysts that have talked about the cliff for a lot of different athletes, and it never seems to go well for them. So I don't want to use that terminology, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower decline. He's not a mobile quarterback, so you don't really have to worry about like if he ran for 300 yards and then the next year he ran for 200. Like I don't really care that that's kind of going down, whatever. But as far as talent and ability, I think he's good. I think he's really good. I just don't think that he's going to keep it up much longer. I think we're going to start to see that steady decline starting next year.
I don't know. I think he's just like you think about Dak Prescott, you think about like 4th round pick out of wherever he was, Texas A&M or wherever the heck he came from, Mississippi State, wherever the heck he was. But like he is so consistent and he's
Mississippi
actually
State, you got it on the
becoming
second one.
yeah, he's actually I just remember like maroon or purple or like that dark color.
Yep.
Um last year he was 4th in the league in QBR and they were 7-9. So in my way with this list, at least maybe he's the start. I don't know what the rest of the names are of the guys that had to put teams on his back to like be even close to winning games. He's a quarterback now that you can just be like, hey, you got to throw it 50 times and you can win the game that way. He completed the most passes in the league. He lost CD Lamb for a lot of it. So he was throwing the Pickens, which he's still a good talent, but the offense has 2 elite wide receivers. It's supposed to anyway. So it seems like he could do it with any Cowboy receiver. Like they always are losing guys because they have like so much talent on the wide receiver side. Tight ends, he's
Yeah.
always throwing to tight ends. Like they're always getting paid and going elsewhere. The
Jake
line's
Ferguson is
always,
a solid weapon there.
yeah, they had like Dalton Schultz for a while. So it's like, I don't know. He's always seems to be doing it with no matter like what the cast is. And that's what I like about Dak the most.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say if we're like, talking about careers in general, he'd be very, very, very high on this list for me. I think that Tony Romo was very underrated. He got so much hate. I don't think it was necessarily deserved. And I think Dak is that times two. I think Dak's gotten way more hate than he's ever deserved. I love Dak.
And
I
he's
love the
so much
player.
better than Tony Romo.
For sure. And my thing is
Yeah.
just the fact that like I just see the decline. I'm calling the decline happening next year. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I've loved everything he's done up to this point.
I'm so high on Dak, and I've said it in the past that I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. And I think he's just a victim to Jerry Jones team building, which is flashy, get butts in seats to watch this team, and not necessarily let's build a ground up, fundamentally good football team. He's had some great offensive lines while he's been there. He's had some mediocre offensive lines while he's been there. So that necessarily hasn't been the issue, but it's been the defense. I mean, he can throw up huge stats. I mean, last year he threw for over 4,500 yards, and like you said, they were 7-9-1, and that was without even week 17. I think they pulled him early. So that's not even like a full slate of games.
Yeah.
He's an immense talent. He's a great thrower of the football, and he's a good mind back there who can dissect defenses like almost nobody else in the league. I think he's extremely underrated because of how Jerry Jones builds those teams down in Dallas, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because it's one of those wasted career moments in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to say that they like his stats are overinflated because of the fact that they had historically one of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL, like 2 years in a row now. But that argument doesn't work when he is making it work. Like they're like, in order to win a game, they have to score 35 points a game, and they're scoring like 32. So they're not winning the games, but he is doing everything he can. I very rarely have watched a game and be like, Dak, I know his defense is bad, but he's got to do a little bit more to win. No, he's doing literally everything in his power to win.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point though, Jeremiah. And that's I think for like listeners out there who may not be as familiar with kind of some of the stats that are extremely misleading. We talked about once doing like stats that don't make sense or stats that are misleading, and
Yep.
that's one of them where like passing yards it can be negatively correlated to how good your team is. So if your team's really bad, you might throw for a lot more yards because you're always playing from behind. Similarly, the stat that you'll often see is like, oh, when this running back rushes for over 100 yards, teams win 95% of their games. It's like, well, yeah, because normally your running back is getting a lot of touch late in games when you're up already big. So it's like,
Right.
what's the cause and what's the effect? So it is one of those that's interesting, and you're right. Some of his passing numbers might be inflated because they're consistently either playing from behind or playing in a shootout. So I think that's
Yep.
a fair put. But like you said, he makes it work, and he's still putting up those numbers, and those defenses are still just notoriously awful. Moving
Yep.
on to number 6. It must be getting cold in here because it's Joe Burrow. I ranked him 6th, so I matched him again. Uh, Jeremiah, you ranked him 4th. David, you ranked him 5th. I think Joe Burrow, I have him 6th. I actually think I could put him a little bit lower on this list, and I think most people who hear that would think I'm disrespecting him. I think Joe Burrow gets a lot of help because of just what we were talking about with Dak Prescott. Like he doesn't necessarily always have great defenses. Actually, normally he has pretty poor defenses outside of that one
Yep.
Super Bowl run. So he's putting up huge numbers because he's playing with a bad defense and he's playing with the consensus best wide receiver in the NFL, and then T. Higgins, who we all think is the best number 2 in the NFL. So I struggle a lot, and this is maybe a little bit of foreshadowing argument for when my quarterback shows up here because they're compared a lot, and usually people have Joe Burrow ranked above Herbert, and it's often because of like either the stats or that one Super Bowl run, to which I will always point back to. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you give Justin Herbert those weapons, and it looks a lot different too. And I think any quarterback in the NFL with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins looks a lot better than they look normally, outside of maybe Stafford, because that's the only wide receiver room that can even hold a candle to Chase and Higgins. So I think people overrate Burrow because of the situation that he is lucky enough to find himself in. But at the same right, he's a baller in his own right. He did win that national championship, so David's gonna bring that up as he is winner mentality, even though, like I said, he was thrown to Justin Jefferson against a guy who's changing tires for a NASCAR pit crew. That is not a joke. That is real life. So get over it. College doesn't matter. Over to you.
Oh, it
Brutal.
doesn't matter. Okay, so I do like Burrow. He is there because we're starting to get in like this special category, you know. So not only can these guys win games, you put them on their back. Like when they play, they could make special plays that influence heavily in the game. It was tough to rank him under 5 because when he's healthy, which he doesn't ever seem to be healthy anymore, he's got to be like a top 3 when he's healthy. So
Yeah.
I think it's just I wish Zach Taylor got fired. I hate going for guys'
Yeah.
jobs, but I don't think his head coach OC is anything great. Like you said, the team sucks around him. Their defense is awful. Their defense always loses guys. They don't want to pay anybody, and then they go elsewhere and they produce. Lou Amarulo was their old DC. He left and he went to the Colts, and they had like the best defense in the league for half the year last year. So it's like it's always something with the Bengals. So it's such a sad situation because it's like kind of like Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. It's like if these guys just went to like a normal structured place, the potential would just be through the roof.
Yeah. My biggest thing with Burrow, I mean, in my eyes, Burrow is the number one best uh strictly pocket passer in the league. Um I think that he is just the best. So, like 2024, he had 460 completions. He threw the ball 650 times. He had a completion percentage of 70% while throwing it 650 times. He threw for almost 5,000 yards. He had 43 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. He had a QB rating of 108.5, and this is all while getting sacked 48 times. He is always up in the top 5 for most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. If he could have a line around him, I have to imagine those numbers skyrocket. Like, if I had to pick anybody in the NFL that could possibly, and I don't think it is really all that possible, possibly break Peyton Manning's record for touchdown passes in the NFL, I think it's Joe Burrow right now. I think he's the only one that could do it. I don't think he will, but I think he could. Um, Best pocket passer in the league, pure pocket passer. It doesn't, yes, it's obviously it's helped to have these great weapons, but he gets it to the great weapons every time on time. If he,
So
his
does Joe
biggest thing,
Flacco.
if he, no, he doesn't. Joe
Yes,
Flacco
he
is up and
does.
down. No, Joe Flacco had to target him 29 times in a game or whatever it was, but I understand.
And he
But
made it
no,
work.
Flacco's not doing that. They didn't win those games. Joe Burrow wins games. So Flacco, I understand they were just like go out there and throw it to Jamar Chase, but but Joe Burrow is just genuinely he could be throwing to a second string tight end and he does it. Mike Gesicki. He literally throws it to Mike Gesicki and makes him look so much better than he actually is because of ball placement and making sure that he can scheme guys open. He has a great pump fake. Like he can look defenders off better than almost anybody in the league. So I think he's absolutely elite, and the health is obviously a concern. Hopefully that stuff can go away, and hopefully they can fix the offensive line so we can see the best version of Joe Burrow possible, because I think he is that special.
Okay, I'm just gonna say again, Joe Flacco in some of those games, I mean, like 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they didn't win. Like that's not on Joe Flacco. And I think
Fair.
it's the game you're talking about where he targeted Jamar Chase so many times. So like I guess that's my point. He had another game where he put up 342, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and they did win that one. But like these losses, like 38-39 loss, 42-47 loss, like that's why it's not necessarily and that's my point. Like Joe Flacco in year 7,000 of his career is coming in and being able to put up these numbers with
Burrow would have
those
put up
weapons.
70.
So okay, maybe I guess. Dave, you already touched on Burrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get a drum roll going. So moving into our
Hey.
top 5.
You can't say let's get a drum roll going and then not let me play a drum roll.
It was rhetorical, but go
Hey.
for it. Drum roll, please. Tied for number 5, we have Matthew Stafford. So, or I guess tied for 4, but we'll put him in number 5. Matt Stafford. So, Dave, you're an outlier here. I ranked him 4th. JMO ranked him 8th. And David, going into next year with his back problems, the fact that he's 9,000 years old, still ranked him number 1. So, David, this
Number
was your
1.
number 1 quarterback in the NFL.
Hold
going
on.
into next year.
I think my earbuds just cut out. It sounded like you said that he ranked him number 1. What did you actually rank him?
Number 1.
1.
Oh my
Matt
my
Stafford,
God.
please.
They just got some help at corner. That team, they're my Super Bowl favorite. He just won MVP. He is the best quarterback in the league right now. Hands down, not even close. He's the most talented. He's the best passer of the football right now. Like his arm angles, the way he can just throw it to anybody on the field. Like, yeah, they got Puka, they got Devontae. Devontae's always hurt. So it's just throw in whoever there. Sean McVay and him, they figured it out. I mean, 46 touchdowns last year is absurd. And he's only going to get better with Puka. That was the first year where they shipped off Cooper Kupp and Puka stepped in that role. Hopefully, if he doesn't get suspended or do something dumb, Puka should be playing every game. I think just the world of Matt Stafford, I think he's just unreal. I'm glad he left Detroit and found like a good home where they're competing for championships because he deserves it. And yeah, I think he's the best. He's the best quarterback in the league. It's not even close.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
He just won MVP.
Crazy.
How is he not?
Because last year, Matt Stafford dapped up whatever God you believe in, and that God said, I got you this year, bro. I got you. I love watching you with Megatron. I got you this year. Don't worry about it. That is never going to happen again. Matt Stafford is going to take one hit next year and poof, go into a cloud of dust. He's going to die. He's not going to make it through the season. There's no way. He's not going to have the longevity. He's not going to have that crazy touchdown. Everybody is going to be on Devontae Adams like you wouldn't believe. They're not getting those easy touchdown passes anymore. Puka's hard to cover in a good pocket and everything. Matt Stafford can get him the ball, but we are not going to see numbers even remotely close to this next year. I'll say it right now. Matt Stafford won't be in the top 5 for MVP votes, even if he stays healthy. It's just not going to happen. It was a one-time thing. It was great to see. I love the ride. Not happening again.
Okay. I'm in between you guys, which makes sense given where I ranked him. So David ranked him 1st, I ranked him 5th, Jim ranked him 8th. I agree he's not having a season again like that next year. However, I mean, I'll remind you all at home that we were ranking them regardless of their current situation. So trying to rank them as if they were on a insert blank team here, like every quarterback was essentially given the same exact team, whether that's a good team, bad team, whatever. I think Matt Stafford is great. I have loved watching his career. He is Aaron Rodgers minus 3 years. As in, I really think he is towards the end of his career where we are going to start seeing some of that cliff fallout happen. I'm not saying he's going to necessarily tear his Achilles after running on the field with an American flag 5 seconds into his debut with the new team. So maybe not exactly Aaron Rodgers, but I think he is closer to being that serviceable quarterback for a team than he is to being an MVP level candidate again.
That's crazy.
And again, he benefits from a great situation.
What, in Detroit or LA? Because he does it wherever he goes. So it's not
his current offensive. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Did you miss the point in Detroit where he was paired up with the greatest talent I think we've ever seen in the game of football?
Is that when they went
raw athletic
Javid
ability.
Best?
Yes,
running back Javid
Best.
Best. Okay.
Okay.
Javid Best.
Who was the head coach? Exactly. That's like
Yeah,
probably like Jim Caldwell. But
yeah, I
Oh,
think
probably
it was
was.
Jim
Yeah.
Caldwell for a few years.
but
I was gonna
like
say, I'm sure it was several people. They went 0-16. Like, I'm just saying, like
I
his
know it's just
numbers are
absurd.
inflated because he got to play with the world beater, the guy who used to get played press man triple coverage
I think
sometimes.
he is at like the Brady peak in his career where it's like his talent is matching his brain and it's the best thing they got. Like he is definitely the smartest quarterback in the league. You're telling me like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are smarter than Matt Stafford right now? Like who's seen more? He knows the offense inside and out. He's seen all the defenses. It's finally clicking as far as what I've seen versus what I can do, and that's why they're like those 1 yard passes to Devontae. They're run, so it's like just run the ball. Then if the box is loaded, then you pass it outside. If the box isn't loaded, you run the ball. It's kind of like that's 101, and nobody seems to figure it out ever. So he
Yeah.
is, and he's doing good, and
Well,
he's turning it up.
you know what? When you guys play flag football and you notice that the box is loaded, you should call out Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. That's not nice. Anyway, I wanted to look it up real quick. I was like, why do I remember it being Jim Schwartz and not Jim Caldwell? Because it was both. It was Jim Schwartz and then immediately led into Jim Caldwell. But while I'm on this page, you guys remember when Matt Patricia was a head coach for a little bit?
Yeah,
I forgot. I
do
totally
remember.
forgot about that until it popped up in my research here. That's wild.
He traded
So that
away
was part of
Darius
why that
Slay.
good
was
times.
flustered, asking who
Huh?
was the head coach. There were probably 7 of them while he was in Detroit. Like, but again, I'll just say, like, he has in Detroit, he had Calvin Johnson for those many years, and no one will show love for another man the way that I will show love for Calvin Johnson. He is
Wow.
an
Yeah, but
absolute
I said
freak
that
of
because you
nature.
said he's never had the talent he's had on the LA Rams and he can never replicate it. And I said, what about Detroit? Because he had plenty of
No,
good
I'm
years
saying
there.
he's benefiting from the situation, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
I
he's
I
benefited from having
Lion.
Calvin Johnson. He's benefiting from having Devontae and Puka.
yeah, he's I don't know, man. He's the oldest 38-year-old I've ever seen. Like he looks crippled. When you see him walking around, like he pretty much doesn't practice because his back just isn't there. Like he has to get a shot every time he plays a game of football, and just I don't know. I'm not distracted by those pretty veneers that he has. I see right through it. I see a
Don't lie.
broken, crippled man.
Yeah, he's closer to getting his spine fused than he is to winning MVP. I would agree with that. Again.
Fair.
Okay, so moving on to number 4. So I am the outlier here. JMO had him in 6th. David had him in 6th. I had him first.
Of course you did.
It was Justin Herbert. So as the outlier, I will just say some things are deeper than the box score. I think if you put the other 31 quarterbacks on the Los Angeles Chargers last year, they don't make the playoffs. They finish 3rd in the division because you still have the Raiders, maybe even 4th in the division. He is absolutely the most valuable person to their team in the league. And I don't even think it's close. I watch every game that I can, being an out of market fan. That's the word, out of market. And every time you watch Justin Herbert, he is playing 1 on 11, if not 1 on 21, 1 on 16, depending on how many people on his own offense are aggressively trying to lose the game for him. Sometimes it's Aronde Gadsden literally handing the ball to the defense. Sometimes it's the offensive line just windmilling and letting people right through. And it's been consistent that whenever he has bad games, he has so many people playing poorly around him. And whenever he has good games, it's because he's absolutely supermaning, taking the entire team on his back. I don't think any one of the other 31 quarterbacks on this list can do what Justin Herbert can do with the supporting cast Justin Herbert has.
This will probably be the last big argument that we have because everybody else is going to be at the top for a reason. But with Herbert, like he threw 13 interceptions last year, and I really want to bring that up and say, like, how can you be elite and do that? However, I can specifically remember 5 interceptions that were not even close to his fault, and those are just the ones that I remember off the top of my head. So, like, yeah, there's always going to be some of those, but it really does seem like his own team is conspiring against him at times. So I'm not going to throw out that interception stat. I've watched it with my own eyes. Like, it really, there were some knuckleheaded decisions, but it still falls in the range of like a normal amount for even the best players. Like, nobody's ever finished a season with no interceptions, I don't think. Like, that just happens, right? So I'm not going to use that against him. He makes good decisions. I've seen his wide receiver, and that's just talking about interceptions. We're not even talking about the drops that are happening on his team. And obviously that happens a lot. And I don't know if we're more sensitive to it because of somebody like Quentin Johnston, who's known for it, but like before Quentin Johnston, like, we've seen it a lot. And then even Keenan Allen, who had some of the most sure hands in the NFL, we saw him dropping way more passes than we ever expected to this year as well. So I think that absolutely, if you're looking at box score, you're not going to understand how good Justin Herbert is. Like I said, he throws the prettiest ball. The success that he had in his sophomore season was also something that was like, you can't poke holes in it. He played outstanding. The game was not too big for him. And I think that we're going to see that. Kellen Moore, yes, Kellen Moore offense did help a lot, but you're talking about, a 20-something-year-old kid in the second year in the NFL having to run that scheme and run it appropriately and still be able to make those plays work. So, and because it wasn't just dump offs. And so, yeah, he had Austin Eckler and that helped, but I think Justin Herbert is a phenomenal quarterback. I have him just outside of the top 5. And if I wasn't so absolutely in love with Jaden Daniels, he'd be right there at 6. He'd be right there at 5 instead of Jaden Daniels. And I think he's very close to Joe Burrow, who I just said was the best pocket passer in the league. So anybody who wants to make an argument for somewhere in the 3, 4, 5 range for Herbert, I'm all ears. 1 is ridiculous, but
1 is ridiculous.
I love you as a friend, and I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, naming him at 1 is absurd, but I'm not surprised you put him there. Yeah, he's a great regular
Shut up,
season
Matt
quarterback.
Stafford. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, let's talk about postseason then. If you want to just talk about all these stats and how great he is, he's a dumpster fire. Big games, he falls apart. Any sort of big game, it's like he's a turnover machine. The lights are too bright. He just can't figure it out. I think he's like a tremendous talent. I think in that offense this year, he's going to do good things. But at this point in his career, he's probably closer to 30 than he is not. So I think he is what he is. And
he is closer to 30 than 0. You are correct.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it.
If he was 16, he'd be closer to 30 than not. It's fine. We're gonna.
I would look up his
stats,
stats, but Billy's the only one that can say this guy needs a legacy game. We're playing the Eagles, and he has 40 yards at halftime, and it's like,
I didn't say he needed a legacy game. This is like
yards?
This is the 19th time. The 19th time you have misquoted me on this. I didn't say he needed a legacy game. I said I want this to be his legacy game.
It should have been
6 days after he had surgery on his hand. It would have been so cool if he just came out and dominated that game.
Or just played
what I wanted.
Decent.
He won the game.
He put on.
Wait, hold on. Argument. And he did play decent. Granted, Jalen Hurts threw 4 interceptions because Jalen Hurts is awful. And I'm getting my tongue, but he is awful, and that actually is what won us that game. I'll agree. I said right after the game, no, that wasn't a legacy game, and you keep misquoting me.
I'm quoting you perfectly. And he said we have a legacy game coming up, and he threw a bunch of picks, per usual, just like the Patriots.
I was excited,
just like the Jaguars,
just like the
Texans.
One thought was going to even be playing because he was coming off the surgery. Anyway, so. Oh, you just brought up the Jaguars. So I do want to refute your playoff point a little bit. So against the Jaguars, he actually played great. And then we had an absolute mind-numbing experience of watching them run the ball on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down without even being able to get the 1st down the entire second half of that game because we were up so big.
The quarterback should be able to change the play, though, right? I mean, Matt Stafford would. But
wouldn't have because talented. It was 100% coming from the head coach. So whatever. The Texans, we've been over that game so many times. He threw 4 picks. Again, like Jeremiah said, 3 of them were I'll say 2 of them were
2.5.
drops. One of them should have been caught, and then the other one should have at least been fought for, but it's Quentin Johnson, who does not go up for 50-50 balls. Anyway, and then the other thing I'll just say that I think is a testament of how good Justin Herbert is the only like name brand wide receivers he's had are Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And even those are kind of those like bottom tier 1 to high tier 2 guys. Keenan Allen at the height of his career, I think, was kind of a good number 1, like top maybe 15 to 10-ish
He's
range.
probably top 10 in his prime.
Okay, yeah,
That Kellen Moore season
that's
with Herbert, he was probably top 10.
Yeah.
But I guess where I'm going with this is every other name, like if you go watch a Justin Herbert highlight film, which I do way too much of because it is so fun to watch him throw the ball. Every other name that you see him throw to, when they leave the Chargers, it's either because they're retiring at 23 because no other team will even touch them because they're awful, or they go somewhere and just disappear, like Josh Palmer. Like they go somewhere and they just disappear. Like it's insane. The wide receivers that leave the Chargers don't do anything. You look at Mike Williams, he goes to your great quarterback of Aaron Rodgers last year to Pittsburgh and does nothing. You watch Keenan Allen, he goes to the Bears, does nothing. Comes back and has even a better season with the Chargers after he goes to the Bears. So it's Justin Herbert has been playing with a land of misfit toys and been making them. I mean, Jalen Guyton looks like a Pro Bowler when he had.
I got a question for you.
The ball.
Name the Bills wide receiver.
Josh Palmer.
That's so gay.
Former Charger.
You know,
Shakir.
Okay. But yeah.
Josh Allen also has that like issue of not having a lot of talent at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, he wins MVPs and playoff runs and this and that.
Yeah,
but he's worse, so I guess it really doesn't matter, right?
I can't.
Agree.
My biggest
next year, going into next year, I have him ranked worse. Yes, correct.
I cannot, in good faith, talk about quarterbacks can't be ranked that high because of collapses in the playoffs based on who my number 1 ranked quarterback is. So I'm happy to move on if you guys are happy to move on. I think we beat this to death enough.
Yeah, sure. That's fair. But I think it was fair to kind of hang up there for a little bit because I agree. That's the last name we'll fight on. We have no more outliers to speak of, but number 3, it's Jeremiah's not a great dual threat quarterback, Lamar Jackson. So I ranked him 5th.
How dare you?
JMO ranked him 3rd. David ranked him 3rd. So I mean, I'll speak on him first since I did have him ranked the lowest. He was just kind of a casualty that I did put Matt Stafford above him. I don't know if that is recency bias based on the MVP, because kind of thinking about it now and maybe after talking about Matt Stafford, going into next year, I think I'd rather have Lamar Jackson. So if I could do this list over again, I might flip the 2 and put Stafford at 5 and Lamar at 4, but that's hindsight. Lamar Jackson, everybody knows who Lamar Jackson is. He's just an insane talent. And again, what I said earlier, he gets disrespected too much when people talk about him being just a running back. He is a great thrower of the football. Like it's not even debatable. Like he can make tight window throws. He can make deep throws. Like it's borderline racist when people say that he should be a running back. Like I think it's purely just people looking at, I mean, the way he plays, because he can be a little run first sometimes, and maybe that's what people are thinking of. But I truly think it's just more of people like trying to put him in a box that he doesn't necessarily fit in, because I think he's a great dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he played 13 games last year. His health is always a little bit of a concern when you play the way that he does. I think that 2024, he's never going to reach that again, where he had 4,000 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. But that speaks to the fact that, nobody who's ever put up that stat line could be considered anything but a quarterback, and one of the best in the league at that. I still think that moving forward, I think that was the best year of his career. I don't think we're going to see that again. This year, he played 13 games. He had 2,500 passing yards, 21 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. I think that, again, I love Jaden Daniels, and he's very young, and I'm talking about what could happen. That's why my ranks are the way that they are. But with Lamar Jackson, it's literally what has happened and has happened for a while now. So I can't in good faith put Jaden Daniels above him, obviously. I want to talk about where I think Jaden Daniels can go. But that also has to come at the decline of Lamar Jackson to be able to put him up there. If Lamar Jackson has similar numbers to Jaden Daniels, he's still going to be above him because he's just done it longer. And there's nothing really telling me he's going to slow down other than the fact that he can't run forever. However, I can't use the word cliff because we have no reason to believe it. I think that his talents at wide receiver are also, it's another team that's diminishing. He's got Zay Flowers and 700-year-old Mark Andrews and everything, whatever. Derrick Henry doesn't catch the ball, right? So I don't think he's going to have that incredible special year again, but I think that as far as I need somebody to go out there and win me a game, he's in the top 5. He is going to do some special things with his legs, and then also allow that to give him opportunities to throw the ball, and he more often than not will convert on those opportunities.
Yeah, he's definitely a top 3 when healthy. He should get MVP votes because most of the time he's carrying that Ravens offense and he's doing it all himself. So I am curious to see how, without Harbaugh being there, without all the coaching, everything changing, that's kind of a drastic change for the Ravens. I am hoping the best for him. And I think last year, everything ran its course as far as the coordinator, the coaching, and it affected his play. I think it affected all their playing. Like, they should have won a lot more games by just, like, handing the ball off and winning situations with Derrick Henry and just grinding the clock in that aspect. But when
Patriots.
Lamar's yeah,
Nope.
but I mean, there was a lot of games, like, and then Derrick Henry fumbled the
Yeah.
ball, like, in the 4th quarter on under 2 minutes, like, multiple times where the other team got it and scored
Yeah.
and won. So you don't love to see that. But when he's healthy, he is an unreal talent and he's impossible to beat. So he's definitely a top 3 player.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're talking about players on Madden, it goes Mike Vick, Lamar Jackson, nobody else.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. He put Zay Flowers last year in rarefied air up with Shadur Sanders as a Pro Bowler. So that says a lot.
Wow. Yeah. I hate that you bring that up.
Moving on to number 2. I would love to never see this guy's name again. So I ranked him 3rd, JMO ranked him 2nd, and David ranked him 4th. It is Kermit the Frog incarnated out of Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, I'm sick of him. Chargers fan, just disgusted of seeing Patrick Mahomes. Granted, he, as far as I know, is not a woman or child beater, and therefore I was upset when he tore his ACL and wasn't wishing for it by any means.
Probably the opposite. I think
Mhm.
his wife beats him.
Could be.
I think
Brittany?
you
Yeah.
might be right, and or is sleeping with his brother if you are following any of that. But
True.
he actually seems like a decent guy, but I just never want to see him on my screen again when I'm watching football. So that's all I have to say. But he's a great quarterback who does things nobody else can even think of doing or should think of doing. Because a lot of the times
Yep.
when people try and play like Patrick Mahomes, it's when they wind up turning the ball over, and somehow he just gets away with it.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is special. We've seen it for a long time. We're going to continue to see it for a long time. He has had a steady decline in the last 3 years in his production, but he started to get back on track last year before the injury. And a lot of that came from using his legs more than he has in the past. So that was really good to see. He's not Lamar,
Well, too much.
obviously, but yeah, I was going to say, but he can make those plays. He can get the first down. He can throw on the run and do all that. The things that offense is able to do because he's at the helm, like you said, we haven't seen it before. Those random shovel passes to a tight end, like right in front of the line that you don't see coming. You want to talk about arm angle and being able to throw balls in ways that other people just can't to throw around defenders. It's insane. And this is all coming from a guy who is not any kind of physical freak. Like, if Patrick Mahomes takes his shirt off, you're going to kind of look at it and be like, really? That guy's an NFL quarterback? No, he's the NFL quarterback. Like, this guy is the face of the league, and he will be for a long time. There's nothing showing that he's going to slow down. He has his ebbs and flows, but his worst years, other guys would dream to have one time. So, There's not a whole lot to touch on this. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows who that team is. Incredible dynasty that they had. And I don't know if you want to say the dynasty's over, or if we're going to look back and say it's part one, part two kind of thing. But just in his career as of right now, if he retired tomorrow, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. He's obviously Super Bowl winning MVP. So last year he played 14 games with a losing record, but his QBR was sixth highest. So even though they weren't losing games, he was still doing the right plays to win. I think kind of what happened is he got one of the highest contracts ever. It's like 10 years, $500 million. Once that happens, like you can't pay the Tyreek Hills. They managed to keep Kelsey, but he's obviously a shell of what he used to be. So they had to change the offense and get
Swift.
cheaper in certain areas. So when that kind of happens, you rely on the run more, which is what they're changing into. They're going away from that high flying offense to a run heavy offense, just to keep his career longer. Which he tore his ACL doing too much bonehead plays, but they need to just Eric Bieniemy's back, which is a major upgrade over Nagy, and I think he's going to be flashes of old because Bieniemy was the only offensive coordinator that was able to get MVP caliber out of him as well. Like he's insanely talented. He could throw 70 yards on the run, like laying out sideways. So it's just impressive everything he can do, and he just needs more talent around him to just help him get over that hump that they're in.
And I think the big thing with their running game is like, I don't think they're going to necessarily move to run heavy. I think they're just looking to bring some balance back to the fact that like they couldn't do anything last year. So even though they ran the ball just to be able to throw the ball, like they were like whatever the minimum amount of times they need to run it, that's what they're doing. And the teams were like, we're not even going to stack the box. We'll let you run it because your run scheme and your talent is not there. So with Ken Walker, that's just going to bring balance back to the team and allow Patrick Mahomes to do even more.
Yeah, I think
But they're going
last
to be
year,
thrown.
like, in the games he played, he was like the leading rusher like 10 times out of like how many games. So,
Yep.
yeah, he managed to just put the team on his back and try and do everything, and it cost him his ACL and his leg and all that. Just trying to do too much and just trying to win the game. So,
Yep.
sucks to see that.
And I think they're going to wind up right out of balance again next year, though. When you factor in, like David, you mentioned when we were talking Stafford about how they gained two great corners, and that's just going to help out the Rams. Both of those corners are coming from Kansas City. Kansas City already was kind of on a decline as a defense. They had a really good defense in Super Bowl years. Chris Jones is not getting any younger, and now they just lost two great cornerbacks out of that defense. So
Yeah,
I
so
think
he might.
interesting to see. I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot
Yeah.
next year. They're in a really, really, really tough division whose only pushover team looks like they're getting way better in free agency. I still think, like, I don't know, I'm not going in saying the Raiders are going to win more than 6 games next year because they're going to be coming in with a rookie quarterback and still a lot of holes. But I mean, they're still, I don't know, it's a really tough division. I'm not even that high on the Broncos, but I think I'm still higher on the Broncos than I am on the Chiefs. So
me too. I
we'll
could see him
obviously
being
get to
like
the division
that
breakdown
Dak
later,
Prescott role where it's like you're probably going to lose the game. Just throw 50 times and just try and bail us out. I think what the league started to do with him is play more of a shell coverage, like keeping guys over the top because they just know the deep threat is always there with Mahomes. So I think he has to adjust his play to like just take what's there and quit trying to like just get that massive play every down. Just death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I think if he makes that adjustment, I hope he does just as far as quarterback play goes, he should be back and the Chiefs should be back to being respectable because they've been a dumpster fire themselves for the past couple years.
I just wrote myself a note, a little reminder to bet on the Chiefs winning the AFC, just in spite of this whole conversation. So I can't wait to make some money on that.
Oh, Jeremiah, just burn your money. It's better off there. And the only last thing I'll say is they are linked to potentially bringing back Tyreek, so that would be an interesting reunion. We don't. I think at least two of us don't think Tyreek has a lot more miles left on the car, but it'll be interesting just because of the connection that they already have. Anyway, for those of you keeping track at home, that leaves only one quarterback. That quarterback is out of Buffalo. I ranked him second. David ranked him second. Jeremiah ranked him first. So he came in first by a pretty wide margin.
Do you want me to do a
that's
drum
Josh
roll for
Allen.
this one too?
No,
never mind.
I already said it. Like I said, anyone keeping track at home already knew who it was. I will keep it short and sweet and just say everything I said about Justin Herbert. It's Justin Herbert light is Josh Allen. So what do you
That's
guys?
Such an
insane.
insult.
And I don't want to hear you talk anymore. Let me hit you with that real quick. Hate that. Josh Allen's the man. Josh Allen puts the team on his back. He's got no weapons. He still just does it over and over and over. Although now he finally has a solid running back. He has
the
Stephon
best
Diggs.
offensive line and one of the best offensive lines in the league, and a great running back. So
I don't care. And with that, he's done things we've never seen from a quarterback at his size, getting all the rushing yards, all the rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen is the absolute man. I just want to see him be more successful in the playoffs. The last year is truly a stain on his career that he had, the seas parted. He had the easiest chance to get to a Super Bowl he's ever had and probably will ever have. And he couldn't do it. And
he got outdueled by check down Bo Nix.
Yeah, it makes me so upset because he has to win a Super Bowl by the end of his career, right? Like, I do not want him to Dan Marino this thing. It'll be so annoying. Just one Super Bowl is all I need. Not a dynasty. Just please, God, give me one. And let it be for the Bills. Let him be the guy that's there forever. But, there's not a whole lot to say. He can do it all. He can run. He can throw. He already has Haley Steinfeld, who's like one of the most amazing, beautiful, perfect people in the entire planet. Huge crush for me. So he's just winning in all aspects of life. Just please, God, win some playoff games.
Yeah. So all these guys are special. All these guys have arm talent. What separates Josh Allen from everybody else is he is a big dude that is tough to tackle. And they know it. Buffalo knows it. They design a ton of plays to get him in space with the ball, whether it's design runs or rolling the pocket. And he's never out of games. It's just his ability is unreal.
Yeah. Not a whole lot to say. I mean, that's it. He's our number one. And I think most people were like, I wonder who's going to be number one. Is it Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Because it should be Josh Allen. And there you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's the modern day right now of what the quarterback should be. If you're the NFL and you need a face to represent the league, it should be Josh Allen.
Justin Herbert, agreed. I'm glad we
Wait,
are.
guys, don't forget about me over here. I've still got Travis Kelce, guys. Look at me.
Swift. Stop dead naming him.
No.
It's Travis Swift. Okay, so moving on to hot topics. The first one I wanted to bring up is just the absolute absurdity that is around this Puka Nacua arrest / situation where he bit some woman on her shoulder, was apparently saying some anti-Semitic remarks, and then it later came out, the video of it, where he's literally passed out and she's twerking on him, and apparently that's after the incident, to which I'm like, what is going on here? No. I saw some memes where it was like JSN signs the biggest wide receiver contract in history. Meanwhile, the Puka Nacua subplot, and it's like Gollum biting off Frodo's finger at the end of Lord of the Rings. Like, he's just the guy just needs to be locked in like put in like the Hannibal Lecter straitjacket and only brought out for football games and football practice. Like, he seems like he's going through a lot of trouble. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because he's so fun to watch. He's so dynamic. He's so good. Just stop being dumb. Just be normal.
I know.
Ugh.
It's like Antonio
he's on
Brown walked.
He's on my team, so
So Puka Nacua can run.
So
you
Puka
know?
could bite somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's so absurd. Like, he's probably
CTE.
Yeah, she probably just wants to get a paycheck, unfortunately. But yeah, just all that. You can't be biting women. Like,
she deserves a paycheck and be bitter. Anyway, the next thing I had was George Kittle. Apparently John Lynch said that they're hoping he returns for week 1, which I know we're all big Kittle guys.
Yeah.
But that is insane, especially because, like, you think, like, torn Achilles. Oh, he tore his Achilles last season. No, he tore his Achilles in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
and
insane.
he's not young.
I hope so. I'd love to see George Kittle back. He's
Sure, but
like one of those guys. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what you guys have anything else
there's
on that?
no way. No. And even if he was like, there's not enough smelling salts in the world. If he says he's ready, somebody needs to sit down with him. George, listen to me. It's not time. You can't go out there yet. Like, I do not care. Do not let this man do that. Oh my good Lord.
Yeah, and it's like it's probably like a little bit of the Jason Tatum effect where I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but I think coming back from an Achilles in basketball is totally different than football because basketball you can kind of take it easy. Like if you're that much better than people, like you can find ways to score without giving your 100%. In football, every play is 100% or else you're getting laid out and it's insanely painful. Like there's no good way to come back from like an Achilles at that age unless you're like 110%. Where basketball you can come back at like 70 or 80 and like work into it and it's so much tougher I feel like because it's not
Yeah.
necessarily explosion, but it's like especially
I
like
feel like
being in
I
a
disagree.
stance, like a 3-point stance and exploding out to block guys too, because that's also
Yeah.
part of
That's
the
fair.
position. Like you're blocking
It's,
like
I mean,
Max
it's definitely
Crosby, let's say.
right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely two different. Either way, you need your Achilles, right? It's an
Yeah,
interesting
I'm just saying
side of
like
things. I mean,
I think Tatum's progress is kind of ruining the recovery time for like all these other
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Where
No,
he's
I
like an
mean,
outlier in his own right.
Yeah, Klay Thompson tore his Achilles and he was never the same after that. So I mean, we're talking about the best athletes on the planet, and up until recently, most of them almost couldn't recover from a torn Achilles. It just doesn't happen. Like they've never really been able to do it and come back to any kind of form. And like again, if any of us tear our Achilles, we're going to be out 3 to 6 years. So it's just, and you know, it's different when we're talking about the greatest athletes in the world, but even still. I don't know, man. Like there's no way he's going to be back for week 1. And if he is, I'm going to be like, you know,
Hold my breath.
what foreign country did you go to and whose Achilles did you steal to get sewn into your body?
Right. Yeah. Okay, so the next one I had, so out of the baseball world, so it was opening weekend or opening week. And Paul Skeens. So Paul Skeens, he's considered probably the best pitcher in the majors right now. He's insane, and he had a horrible opening day start. Now that's if you look at the box score. So like I said with Justin Herbert, some things are deeper than the box score.
Context matters, right?
The MLB
True.
context doesn't matter. The MLB really needs to get rid of this ruling where if there's like a pop up, or in this case it was fly balls to center field, and the player just loses it or kind of just like doesn't get there, like if the ball doesn't touch their glove, it cannot be ruled an error by baseball rules. This happened twice in the first inning to Paul Skeens. He didn't even make it out of the first inning. Both were ruled hits because they never touched the outfielder's glove. And he has like an ERA of like 60 something or something like that right now. And it's just baseball needs to come up with a subjective rule of how to rule those errors because every error is subjective other than that. Like if you hit a ground ball and like some of them aren't ruled errors because they were hit hard enough, or some of them aren't ruled errors because like oh he had to move 3 steps over to his left, and it's like these were like simple routine fly balls that O'Neal Cruz just didn't get under. It's just like you need to like have some subjective way to rule those errors because that's just obscene. But anything else out of opening weekend, that was the only or opening week, that was the only baseball note that I had.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I'm excited for Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox team, and you know, I hope they do well. But really, like baseball has to change a lot of things for me to start caring about it again. To be honest,
Yeah, like get off Nesson. It's so impossible to watch them.
True.
It's like you need your own subscription just to watch the Red Sox. It's like it's insanely tough. But I mean, I'm excited for like Roman Anthony because he seems to be like the next upcoming superstar and he's on the beautiful
I
Boston
can't
Red
wait
Sox.
for him to get right up to his prime and then we trade him or something. Like can't
for
wait
a
to
bunch
do
of
that
nobodies.
all over again.
Mookie. I miss Mookie.
I miss Mookie.
Okay,
I
and then
miss Xander. I miss everybody. Ugh.
Yeah, absolutely. My next note is for all of you people, you know, like a lion.
What do you mean you people?
Never. Everybody listening here, a lion would never drive intoxicated, but a tiger would. So we have the Tiger Woods nonsense. Apparently, he blew a .000, so it's gonna be like just back. I think he and the Dallas Cowboys have the same amount of playoff wins to driving under the influences since 2017.
Nice.
It's gonna it's gonna be I think probably back to that where it's probably some pill related. I'm sure it's related to his back because I think he blew a .000, but still it's just like at that level you can't have a driver take an Uber Black. Like what is he thinking? And I don't know. I guess I want to wait to get more of the information coming out, especially since finding out that he blew a .000. But it's just like again, like why not have a driver or at least take an Uber? Like if that's what's going
Right.
on.
Yeah, I mean, there's the memes and everything that comes of it is great, and we're talking about the greatest golfer of all time. But here is my take from being a dad who has kids that are going to be on the road someday. I'm on the road, my wife's on the road, our kids are in the car. Don't drive impaired. And when you have the ability, and again, maybe something comes of this that I don't know, but I'm just speaking in broad terms to everybody. Don't drive impaired. Like it's just not that hard to figure out. I'm very much like extreme with a lot of things. Sometimes it's shock value comedy, and sometimes I actually believe it. Yeah, just start shooting people that drive impaired. Like eventually, it'll be a lot at first, right? We're gonna kill some really good people, but then everybody's gonna settle down and stop doing it for a little bit. There's gonna be a couple of really good people that we lose in the war, but after that, maybe things will calm down a little bit. I don't care if it's drinking. I don't care if it's pills. I don't care whatever it is. I don't care if you took some Sudafed and then got behind the wheel and you shouldn't have. Stop doing it, and then you add in the fact that we have these people who have more than enough means to get, we're not talking about somebody who has chronic back pain and needs to get to their 9 to 5 and they can't possibly live without that paycheck. Like, it's so frustrating. It's so dumb.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just saw a joke. So I saw this. Don't come at me. It's a joke. He has the athleticism of a black guy, but he has the driving skills of an Asian person. But
because he's biracial. I got it.
Yeah, he's both. But yeah, it's
like I said, the memes are always great.
They really are. They're undefeated. Once something happens, just you got to wait for the memes because they can just go on and on and on. But like
It's true.
he has a history of this too, so it's like it sucks too
That's
because
the
like he was
problem.
just in like his Tiger Golf League like a few days ago, and then like the next day he does this, and it's like, oh, well, like we just saw him play golf for the first time in like 10 years since his last like stupid stuff he's been going through. So it's like, yeah, his
Yep.
life's just a
Frustrating.
disaster, and
Yeah.
he just needs like somebody to tell him, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing that, sort of thing. And yeah,
He shouldn't need someone to tell him that, but
I know his
yeah,
dad
great.
is like a Navy SEAL too, right? So you think he's like grew up in like a military construct household and he knows right from wrong. But I think when you're that
Yeah,
powerful
he's
and that
probably
much
seen some
money,
shit and probably has PTSD.
yeah, I just think guys like that don't see themselves as ever doing anything wrong. They're above the law
Yeah.
in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
True.
The next note I had was just on Bronny. So LeBron James Jr. So LeBron at the top of the 3-point line passed it to Bronny. Bronny hit a 3-pointer, and that was pretty cool to see. It was the first time in NBA history that a father assisted a son on a basket. People give Bronny a lot of crap for the nepotism, like the fact that he's only in the league because LeBron's his dad, and there's probably some truth to that, but it hasn't been all roses. I mean, I can't imagine being on a team where everybody knows that one of your teammates is banging your mother. But
That's a good point.
I think it was pretty cool to see that father son connection actually hit. I mean, we've seen it in hockey a couple times. You've seen some father son connections. There was even, I think there was one game where a father was playing center and flanked on each end by one of his sons. I forget the family name, but the Stalls.
Probably Jaromir Jagr or somebody. Or yeah.
Yeah. So it's always pretty cool, and like David and I joke about like wanting to play flag football with our sons. Not really a joke, but like we always talk about, and I'm sure Jeremiah does too. something like that. But we
Sure.
always talk about it, so it's really cool to see, like, in the NBA. And I know Bryce Young is in the, or not Bryce Young, Bryce James is in the, he's in the Final Four with Arizona.
Right.
He just
Yeah,
declared.
I think he's redshirted.
He just
But
declared the other day he's going in the draft. He's not even like a starter,
Yeah,
so you know he's going to
really.
go late. And I bet LeBron plays
I
another
don't think he'll
year,
get
and I
drafted,
guess
but
he'll get drafted to the
He's a
Lakers.
redshirt freshman. He didn't even play.
He's the most talented son that LeBron has. So
that's probably true. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about Bronny taking up somebody else's spot. Like, that's the benefit when you are the son of the greatest basketball player of all time forever. It's just like I don't care. He's good enough to get close. Yeah, don't look at me like that. He's good enough to play in the NBA, at
Said
least
it.
in the G League, and he had some opportunities. It's fun to see. I love to see that kind of stuff. I don't care. He's good enough.
Every
It's
family needs a
fine.
He's lighting up the
ball,
G League.
right?
He's lighting up
Yeah,
the G League when he's
for
playing
sure.
now.
Exactly.
He's better than like Thanasis Antetokounmpo,
Yeah.
Giannis' brother.
Shout out McClung
it is
for
what it is.
being the all-time leading scorer in the G League now too. Good for him.
Heck yeah, great dunker. And then the last note I just had. So I think we've flirted with the idea of doing a fantasy league, related to like context matters. So the three of us and then some listeners. So I'd say like email us. Let us know if that's something you're interested in doing. Like touching on opening week for baseball was something that came in as an email. So it's just some things, like email us some thoughts about that. Email us if you're interested in joining Fantasy League, the
that'd be
Context
fun.
Matters Fantasy League. That it
Yeah,
could be
that'd be
fun.
good.
But unless you guys have anything else,
I do, real quick.
we can move on. Oh, Dave. Yes.
Have you guys heard about the whole referee stuff going on in the NFL?
No.
No. So
Is this a Cooky corner?
no. It's their contract is up and they're at a standstill as far as the NFL Referee Association and the NFL. They are apparently the NFL is noting teams that something might happen as far as getting different officials to ref all the games than the normal cast,
Interesting.
which is absolutely crazy.
This happened like 10 years ago, right?
It did, and it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, NFL officials are part-time employees and they have real jobs. They have
Yeah,
normal
it's
jobs where they're
disgusting.
like teachers or principals or whatever they do in their personal life, and then they just ref on the weekend sort of thing, or 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It's absurd that like the most expensive game in the world, probably other than soccer, but at least in the United
Yep.
States, like you can't have refs on staff full year round and like have them just perfect their craft in certain ways. It's a shame.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me.
The last standstill was related to like they wanted some budget or something thrown in for them attending like off-season trainings. And I remember they didn't even get that. And yeah, it's insane. It's like, not only should they be full-time employees, they should be full-time employees that are just like getting paid actually very well, and then use that to be able to get rid of the bad ones. And then also like they should be trained and up to date on everything. And for the most part they are. Like a lot of the stuff we see that people complain about are like bang bang plays, or like the catch at the end of the Bills game, like just stuff that you can understand either way they call it. Even like that pass interference against the Saints in the NFC Championship game. Oh wait, no, that one was really bad. Sorry,
Thanks,
Dave,
buddy.
I had to bring that up. But yeah, absolutely. These refs should be paid really good money, because it's not even that expensive for the league to do that, relatively speaking. They should be paid great money, and they should have a year-long schedule of training and attendance. And
100%. Like, and it's not that hard to do. And we're not talking about 300 people. The NFL employs like 20 referees. 20. Like, you telling me you can't give each of them, I don't know, $500,000, $600,000 a year for those 20 individuals and let them live comfortably and allow them to have the time to go to do training and everything in the offseason and blah, blah, blah. Like, you absolutely can do that. Even if, like, I don't know, for somebody who makes that much money, you're asking us to have 17 different streaming services to catch any game ever. And then the playoffs are even more of a you-know-what show. Pay the referees so that they can really take some pride in their job and not have to worry about correcting their kids' homework in the middle of the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Okay, so next up, we have Master Debater. Shortly before the episode, our weekly judge, this week it was JMO, handed out the topic and assigned each contestant a side that they then have to debate. Each contestant gets 90 seconds to argue their side, and then it's an open floor until someone gives the judge just the right tug, and he explodes, showers us with his decision. JMO, over to you.
All right. Today we're going to throw back to one of the oldest questions in the history of time. And I think this is going to be a fun one to debate because most people have already debated it at some point in their life. So we're going to get right into it. Does a straw have one hole or does a straw have two holes? We are going to start off with last week's winner, Dave, who's going to tell you why a straw has one hole.
All right. So we've all seen a straw, right? You know, you pick it up, it's a long little stick, and it's got one hole all the way through it. So, I mean, there's not much more to say other than just using your eyes and looking at it. I mean, it's
Would you just look at it?
I mean, it's used for suction purposes. Like if it had too many holes, it wouldn't serve its purpose. You know, it's only got one singular. It's a cylinder. The cylinder has one hole. That's all I really gotta say. What do you got, Bill?
Okay.
All right.
I'm glad you came in with such a strong argument. So a straw has two holes, one at each end, and it's the same reason. Like if you look at a tunnel or if you look at a pipe system, that they have two holes. So you guys are even more handy than me, but let's think about like the plumbing system that connects your toilet maybe to a septic system. So let's oversimplify that and assume it's one straight pipe from the bottom of your toilet to wherever it spits out into the septic. Is that the same hole that everything's going into from the toilet that it's spitting out at the septic? No, it's two completely separate holes. Now, if you add another hole, like a sink, onto that septic pipe, is that now still just one hole that goes through the pipe? It goes up? No. Is it two holes because you're adding one to the one going up? No, it's a third hole because you still have the hole at the top, the hole at the bottom, and the hole going up to the sink. It is absolutely two holes. That's the way you do it. If you cut a straw in half, now you have four holes.
Now you have
Like
two
it's
pieces of two or one hole.
no, because it's the same thing. It's a cylindrical tube, and also this is my monologue segment, David. So shut up.
I only give you like 30 seconds.
It's a cylindrical. It's 90. It's 90 seconds.
But you flipped the argument. So you said we're not talking about your septic design, your plumbing in your house. You said a straw. So
yes,
he's saying the plumbing is a big straw.
Cylindrical tubes. They're both cylindrical tubes.
Because a straw, unless it has T's in it, which then obviously has more holes because you're like teeing
That's why I said a simplified idea of a septic design, Dave. Just one tube that connects the bottom of the toilet to the septic. One tube. So one tube shape, one cylinder. Does that have one hole or two? Is that one hole where it comes down and one hole where it spits out? Or is that the same hole? That's what I'm asking. Because it's the exact same shape, design, 3D symmetrical geometric figure as a straw.
And if it was one of the characters from Attack on Titan, he could potentially use it as a straw. I see what you're saying. Well,
I don't know where you're going with that, but
don't worry about it.
From your toilet to your septic, it would be one hole. Or else poo wouldn't get there. It would get somewhere else other than where it's supposed to go.
I'm going to cut this off.
I'm lost. Okay,
I'm going to cut this off already. So, Mr. Barron, what you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I just don't know how it's
everyone
not
on
one
this
hole.
Everyone on this podcast is now dumber having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to rule with Bill on this one, mainly because Bill came prepared with an argument, and you said, would you just look at it?
I mean, you can see through a straw. It's just got one hole all the way through. So is a cylinder.
I can see
got
through your
more?
argument, buddy.
So you look at an engine block and it's got a bunch of holes in it. Is
Bores.
it one hole per cylinder or is it two on the other side?
I'm not
It would be
supposed
two.
to be. I'm just supposed to be picking an argument. I'm not supposed to have an opinion
I
on
know,
this, and I'm not going to
but-
share my opinion on this.
Yeah,
But
because you know
Bill
what you
has
say.
unfortunately won
But
the
Billy
argument.
just made up
and
this labyrinth of like plumbing in your house to like confuse the mind of these various. Well, you got a sink over here, so technically,
I did
if you
the
have a
point of the
sink-
segment, which is to argue the point you were given. I was told to argue two holes, so I came up with an argument about two holes that wasn't just.
Look at it. I gotta come up with Cookie Corner, and you threw me off my game for Cookie Corner because you're like, you should look up this, and then you're like, no, we can't use that.
No, that is
Well,
not what I said. Just
we're-
like earlier in the episode,
we're not
you
even
were
getting into that.
misquoting me. I said
Yeah,
I'm
typical.
not doing it. I said you can do it.
I can do it.
Also said on last week's episode, so everybody knows. And I'm not doing it for a very specific reason that only pertains to me, that doesn't pertain to you. But you already said you're not talking about it.
That was
so
where my
next up is
research went.
David's Cookie Corner. Did we
you
actually
go.
land on the moon? Was the CIA responsible for the assassination of JFK? Are birds real? The people yearn for answers, and David will try his best to prove them in this new off-season segment where he proves, is water wet?
Hell yeah.
No, I'm not proving that because that's also stupid. Okay, so I mean, it would be kind of fun if like people emailed with some topics that like they're
Conspiracies, yeah.
curious about, and I can do a little digging on it. But I just kind of stick with like recent events. Let's say, obviously, the most recent one is I talk about every week, the whole Epstein thing going on. So last week, somebody was driving in Florida. They did an Instagram video or TikTok, whatever the heck it was, and they filmed the guy next to the car, and they're like, "This is Epstein right here. He didn't die." And then a couple days later, this guy gets on his social medias. He's like, "I'm not Epstein. I'm Palm Beach Pete." What the heck is going on in the world? Like, do we even live in like a real civilization? Like, this guy is
No.
like all of a sudden like trending. He's insanely famous. He was on Jimmy Kimmel the other day, all because he looks like Jeffrey Epstein, and people think he is Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that is insane. So pretty much like this guy is getting propped up on a pedestal for all these sheeple to admire because we think he's somebody who murdered, trafficked children, humans,
Yeah.
total awful things. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing. It's astounding that, I don't know, we live in the world we live in and we
Yeah.
idolize people like that.
Two things. Number one, if it really was him, there is no way that somebody would be dumb enough, if you're going to cover that up, there's no way that you would put that man in Florida. Like, you're putting him in Siberia. Like, that would just be insane. Second of all, if I'm that guy, somebody at some point in the last 8 years has told me that I look like Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm buzzing my head and I'm growing a beard out. I'm doing everything I can to not look like who we've seen to be as one of the most heinous criminals in the history of mankind.
Yeah, and he's even said like
and
he's
he invented
partied-
microtransactions.
Yeah, he even said he partied
True.
with Epstein at his house in Palm Beach. But I mean, the
Things you
thing is, too,
shouldn't
is, like,
say out loud for 500, Alex.
yeah, and it's like, but it's also sometimes hiding in plain sight is the best hiding spot because it's like
Not today.
to quote the Bible is like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. So that's essentially what they're doing. But people are already like diving into this on like Reddit and all that. You can find it. This dude's living at Epstein's house, which obviously isn't a good look. Like, and they found the
No.
real Palm Beach Pete, which this guy is like famous, like as being Palm Beach Pete. He's like a fisher and this and that. They found like the real account, and it doesn't look like this guy. And he disappeared, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that. That it seemed like they could have just offed him or something and just took his identity and rolled it to. I mean, we talked about like Jim Carrey and all that. You like, it's not hard if you're insanely wealthy and famous to kind of alter your appearance in certain ways. So if everybody thinks he faked his death anyways, because there's no way he killed himself. Like, if you look into that, everybody that was involved is super fishy. They all have their own problems. So, yeah, if you gotta hide somebody and alter their appearance and put him in Florida and he can just drive around with a convertible all day, then yeah, it's just. And then somebody was like, saw him at a red light. I saw this the other day. It's just kind of funny to mention. And they're like, "Hey, are you Palm Beach Pete?" And he was like, "Yeah. How old are you?"
Yeah, sure.
They're like, 42. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm all set." And the guy's like 60 something. He's like
Brutal.
old, It's like, it's crazy. But now it's like I said, he's like becoming like this internet sensation, being famous and going on Jimmy Kimmel. Like, who has the power to like put just a no-name guy on Jimmy Kimmel? You know who does?
I don't know. I mean, they're always going for the flavor of the week, like
Yeah.
interviews.
I mean, you
Like
obviously
Catch Me
you
Inside
quoted
Girl or whatever the other ones are.
right. You
But
quoted
like I
the
said,
Bible. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, you can go, J-Mo. You can go.
I was gonna say, so you quoted the Bible. I will also quote a fictional book and say, fame is a fickle friend, Harry. That's right out of Harry Potter. It really is like the people that we choose to make famous and the things that we shed light on is just insane. And I get it. Like the industry is entertainment. Like it's not really news. It's all entertainment and it's whatever gets clicks and buzzes. And, it's a machine that's running and part of our economy. But yeah, I'm pretty sick of it. I hate seeing stuff like that. It makes me genuinely think that the world is getting dumber by the second.
I can't believe you
For
said,
sure.
I don't know if I can let you get away with that the Bible's fiction. I'm not even like religious, and
It's a
Let's
joke. It's a
not,
joke.
please, let's not. Let's not.
I know, but they're like,
we don't need
I was
to.
going to bring it up like Noah's Ark and like the Great Flood. That actually is 100% happened, and it wiped out
Okay, that could be a Cookie Quarter episode. like
Atlantis.
We'll get it next time.
Wiped
Yeah.
out
researching,
Atlantis.
give it its due time.
Ooh,
That's
that's a good one. I like that.
No, it's true. It happened.
I will.
Yeah.
Two of every animal.
Next time.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Anything else? JMO, what do you have there? Anything else?
My anything else is just like the general ideas and the taboo of talking about salary with coworkers and just like the harsh reality of the world in general. Like I wish that every job, and I know why sometimes they can't, but I wish every job would just post everybody's salary. And it was one of those things like the jobs hold people accountable to the salary that they're making. And, it's just all out in the open because if the best person at the job is making the most money, they always have the ability where somebody's like, why don't I make as much money as they do? And it's like, do you work as hard as them? Do you know as much as them? The answer is no. Shut up. That's why. Like, and that just brings us into the harsh realities of the world of like, sometimes people are just coddled too much. Part of the salary thing is for companies to try and, they couldn't survive if they paid everybody a bunch of money. And I get that, but just like, sometimes you just have to accept reality for what it is. Like if you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, I know that I'm middle of the pack at my job. There's people that are better than me and people that are worse than me. And like, are you paid appropriately? Like, oh, if so-and-so is making this much, blah, blah, blah. It's like, are you better or worse than them? Like, and just go from there. I wish that it wasn't so taboo. I wish we could talk about money and that aspect a little bit more in a little bit more of a transparent light. And then just like, again, I wish companies could find a way to simplify things. Just, you know what I mean? Like the best guys get paid the most, the worst guys get paid the least. And that's that. But I know it's just a pipe dream. It'll never happen, but.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm like the total opposite end of that spectrum where I'm in a union. Everybody knows what everybody makes, and it's awful because most people take advantage of it. So,
yeah,
like the hardest worker, like you said, isn't the most paid. It's just everyone makes
usually
the same.
The most tenured.
No.
No,
it's not.
That's scary.
It's usually the most tenured guys are doing the least. And the younger guys that are coming in making the same amount as those tenured guys are doing the most. Because they're like, why should I know more?
That's what he's saying.
So who's getting paid? Yeah, that's what I was saying.
He's saying, yeah. So Billy's saying like it's usually the tenured guys that are getting paid the most, even when they shouldn't.
Yeah, but I thought he meant like working the most. Because
no,
in my aspect,
just getting
being
paid
the smartest and working the hardest isn't necessarily correlated. Where and like
Oh,
your
right.
aspect is like a lot of brain power goes into like what you do. But yeah, so I can definitely see that aspect of what you're saying, but also the flip side of it. I mean, there's no good way to do it anywhere because
Yeah.
even like with me, like I'm in a trade, but like these other trades, we all know what they make, and no one's ever happy with anything. I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also true.
I
yeah,
do think so, and I have a lot of feelings on this, but I'll try and keep it short. I do think financial transparency is like so good for everybody who actually like leans into it. And I mean, we can do a cookie corner that I can do one time about how the fact that talking about money with coworkers, or even not even coworkers, like friends and everything, the reason it became taboo is because that keeps wages suppressed. Because if you're
Right.
not talking about it, then you don't know that over here there's this great opportunity that you're just not seeing because you think they get paid
yeah,
exactly just like you do. So
Yeah.
I think talking about income is great. Obviously, in a workplace, it can be extremely
Tricky.
temperamental, tricky, yeah, because
Yeah.
you run into some issues that you don't necessarily want to have, and like JMO, I completely get your point, and I think that's like kind of a perfectionist view on it. Whereas like in reality, maybe yes, they don't work as hard as person A, but they're also really good at their job, so the company
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily want to piss them off by saying no, you don't get paid as much as them
Right.
because you don't work as hard, but they're still like a valuable employee, just not as
Yeah.
valuable. And that's
That's
just
like
really interesting. But
that's just kind of like how the second part like builds into it too about the accepting realities. I just wish I wish bad workers knew they were bad. I wish they could just accept it and
they
understand the
never
fact that
do.
they're just not good. No. And on the other
It's so
side of it,
frustrating.
the guy at the top who's smelling his own farts because he used to be good and good isn't he's just not good anymore, and he can't let go of the fact that he used to be good but provides nothing anymore. Like both ends of the spectrum just make me so mad. Just be honest with yourself and admit what you are. That's all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think three of us have like the same mindset. Like we're the same breed as
Yep,
far as that goes. Where
for sure.
we know what we are. Who
Yeah,
cares?
Yeah, I'm the worst. I'm the worst at my job by a long margin.
I agree. You are the worst.
Anyway, I'm kidding. Anyone who knows me from work hopefully would attest that I'm not. David, what's your anything else?
I lost an auction the other day. I guess that's my anything else. Have you guys ever
Oof.
like tried an auction? Yeah, I know.
Oh
I'm like
yeah.
trying to
What
like
kind of
Absolutely.
auction?
um
Got to be a
I like
motorcycle or a
bidding
car.
Physical?
on no kind of a mini excavator because eventually I want to like do my own thing and start my own business. So I want to like piece together some stuff and I need something here to do all my projects around my house. So yeah, I'm kind of like looking for one. So I found like a website that is out of Massachusetts, and so yeah, so I don't like gamble or anything, so I was getting that little high at the same time. It was kind of nice. I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, and then it like went live to like on site, and yeah, I lost, but it wasn't a deal at where they bought it, which so I'm
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
mad about that, but
But you
yeah,
don't lose money by losing an auction, right? So
Right.
no,
it's
you
not
just
truly like a gamble. Like
no,
yeah.
it's just yeah, it's just
Yep.
like they just hold
Just you
money.
got your hopes up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, because I thought I was gonna get it at a decent deal, and then somebody just blew me out of the water, but at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't pay that for that, so,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, but,
I've done
yeah,
it a
I've never,
lot
like
with sports cards. I've won and lost that battle on sports cards at times. Like there's a couple times where I undercut somebody and like the people weren't paying attention to what the card was, like its value relative to what it was selling for, and that was great. We're not talking about huge amounts of money, but like a quick 30, 40, 50 bucks on my end, no problem, just to just grab it and resell it. And I've also been on the other side where I'm like, these people are crazy. Why is nobody bidding on this? Like, this is weird. And then I get it and I look at it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this thing's worthless. I shouldn't have paid 40 bucks for it. Like, been on both ends of it for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
my yesterday when I was, like, doing it and I was winning, but it wasn't over yet, was probably
Yeah.
the worst, like, 2 hours of my life. It just dragged on, I'm like
Yep. That's funny.
yeah,
Love it.
story of my life. Just can't never get a good deal.
Yep. Been
For
there.
sure. Okay. So for mine, I'll admit this has kind of been my back burner or anything else when I didn't really have anything great for anything else, but just something on the back burner that I could bring up anytime. So I want to
Sure.
bring up, and I'm going to put you both on the spot, but I'll intro it first, and you guys can both play along after. I
Okay.
want to. Who is an artist that you think is extremely underrated, and who is an artist that you think is extremely overrated? And
Oh
so
god,
I'll
you
go
got
with
me
mine.
Googling artists real quick.
Both both of mine are from my motherland, which is Ireland. Most of my heritage
Oh, I know who
is
you're going
from
to say
Ireland.
already.
So my underrated by far is Hosier. I think he is phenomenal. He deserves to be huge. I mean, granted, Too Sweet and Take Me to Church have both been like gigantic hits. Too Sweet hit number
Yep.
one, but like the rest of his catalog, like honestly, I mean, Take Me to Church is great, but like most of his catalog is better than Too Sweet. So if you
Yeah.
don't know who Hosier is, you need to go check him out. He's like a bluesy, folky, indie rock solo artist who's just phenomenal. I saw him live and he like absolutely blew everybody away. He's just so good live. For overrated, also out of Ireland, I have to go with U2. And I will be honest that I have a long hatred of U2. Uh, it stems back. I think there was a South Park episode that came out about Bono and about him
Smelling
going
his
over
own
to
farts.
Africa. Yeah, yeah, and about him going over to Africa and like he would only like do good things while the camera was rolling, and then he actually was like treating people like crap in the
How
interim.
it
Yeah.
goes.
He's like totally one of those philanthropists that's a great philanthropist when the camera's on. And sure, has he probably still done more good than bad? Maybe. But then I don't know. I just like I have a big bone
Yeah.
to pick with U2. So that's my overrated is I think U2 is overrated. And Hosier, please check him out. So good. So good.
Yep.
So underrated. What a talent.
Yeah, I hate U2. I hate that they put music on my phone without my consent. I hate Bono. I hate
Right.
everything about it. Just so pretentious and so dumb. And I don't like a single YouTube songs or U2 song, so screw them. Yeah, I would say for underrated is like, I guess when I think of underrated, there's some talents that I could bring up that people have never heard of and whatever. But like part of it is the people, the Dak Prescotts of the music world that just get a bunch of hate for no reason. So like we talk about Nickelback all the time. Nickelback is phenomenal. Nobody should hate them. That's dumb. So sticking with that same theme, I love Zach Brown Band, and I've seen them in concert a million times. I think that they're underrated in the sense of like, if you don't like their style of music, that's fine. I'm not asking you to like it. But as far as their songwriting abilities and the their instrument talent, like the way that they compose music, all the albums that they've made, just all the history behind the band and what they've kind of overcome. They are very underrated to me, just as far as like talent and musical abilities. Same thing with like Imagine Dragons. People love to make fun of Imagine Dragons. They literally all have degrees from Berkeley. Like they are very, very, very talented. So when you're talking about overrated, underrated, you might not like their music, but like they get more hate than they deserve. Um, and then overrated. It's funny that I said underrated with Zach Brown Band. Similar name. Overrated. Zach Bryan. I can't stand him. He's such a tool. He's just a bad dude. And like maybe he's a good dude who's made bad mistakes. But either way, like I can't stand it. Like when your headlines are making more, whatever, making more clicks than your actual music, you need to do some self-evaluating. But that space in general, like that, mainly country, but like a little bit of a twist to it, like I'm kind of getting everybody's like, oh, this guy's amazing. No, this guy's amazing. Like we've had 7 different Zach Bryans in the last 5 years that have like, this is the guy. It's like, well, if it's not that hard of a space to break through or break into, then I don't think that what you're doing is all that amazing. Like this raspy voice, this like singing about everything and nothing all at once, it just doesn't do it for me. It's not that
It's Chris
amazing.
Stapleton. He's the guy.
Chris Stapleton is phenomenal. He
He's
is.
so good.
He's so good. He is what everybody wants to be.
So
And like
good.
Tyler Childers is another one. And like that aspect of like Tyler Childers and then a bunch of other people like Noah Khan who want to be Tyler Childers. It just bugs me, man. Like you get, I don't know. Everybody in that space is overrated, especially Zach Bryan. Like whatever. His music is fine. And if I flip the radio to another country station, I'll find 6 more of them.
So before David goes, I just want to jump in real quick. Imagine Dragons is interesting to me. Like, I don't care that they have degrees from Berkeley. I do think they're overrated. And I guess where I would argue back about they have degrees from Berkeley, I think that's maybe what makes them bad. They feel so produced.
What band was
Like,
that?
you feel like they
Imagine
feel like
Dragons.
they're trying
Dragons
to
is-
make a song. They feel like they're trying. Who sings the song? Thunder?
Yeah.
They feel like they're trying to make a song to be a hit song, not that they're actually just like trying out to make good music, if that makes sense. That
Yeah.
I guess like
I get it,
61,
but like
half a dozen in
even
the other,
even
but,
their
like, I don't know.
performances, they like even their live performances are amazing. Like they just put a lot into their music, a lot more than somebody who like strums a guitar and doesn't even know how to dance.
And I think their lead singer has some sort of like disorder too, which makes it even more impressive of what they do in general.
Yeah,
I'm
the
about to
disorder
Google it.
that he's just super hot and better looking than everybody else. Yeah.
No, he does have. It's like some sort of I forget, like muscle disorder or something, or like
Hmm.
arthritis. I forget what it is, but he does suffer from something that
Arthritis or
makes,
something.
like-
yeah, that's a
No,
disability
it is
now.
like
Get yourself
well,
a blue
no,
little
like, it's-
sticker so you can get
no, but
parking
like
closer to the store.
it's
Yeah,
hang
I
on.
gotcha.
It is
Muscular
AS,
dystrophy, maybe?
and
Oh.
ankylosing spondylitis, chronic inflammatory autoimmune arthritis that affects the spine and joints. So,
Ugh,
haha,
that's
laughing
tough.
at me.
Good job.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm generally kind of close.
Yeah.
But you want to know something
Close
kind of
enough.
Okay,
funny?
Dave, no more stalling. What's
Yeah.
yours?
So my dumbass, I was Googling like famous artists as in like painters.
Pablo Picasso's
Picasso.
got to be
How am
one of the
I
most
gonna
underrated
talk
artists.
about-
Picasso. I
I'm
like
not
it.
cultured enough for this conversation.
Love that.
Okay. So the most underrated, I don't know, a band that I've seen recently that I've never even heard of in my life was A Day to Remember. And now that I've been listening to them more, definitely
Dude, A Day
underrated.
to Remember
And
is
what?
so good. Yeah.
Dude, I saw them on accident like last year, and they were
Yeah.
unbelievable. And like I've seen them a couple times since, and every time I do, they're like unbelievable. And every one of their concerts, like they sound so good. All their music's
Yeah.
awesome. So like that's like a fresh band to me.
Nice.
Total
I'm happy
side
for
note
you.
though. Yeah. My friend went to a wedding last year, and wicked rich, wicked fancy, Zach Brown band played there at somebody's wedding. And he was sending me
That's
Snapchats
cool.
like 10 feet away, like 50
That's
people,
sick.
like a super private event of Zach Brown band. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I couldn't imagine that. But for
Huh.
overrated, Taylor Swift. She is so freaking overrated. It's like, is she properly rated or is she overrated? Because like the fandom that would
Properly.
no, it's not even, no. Like it doesn't even make sense. It's like the Beatles times 10, like on steroids versus like how obsessed, like little girl, like she's terrible for like generational.
I'm a
Just-
33-year-old male. I'm obsessed with her. Like her music is phenomenal. Every album she's ever made is fantastic. And she's a
She's
good
no-
person.
Good, but overrated. Like, dude, she can make like a documentary about putting on her shoes and it will get like 20 billion
Yes.
views. And it's like,
Yeah,
who
the fans
cares?
the fans are a little crazy, but I mean like if you want to
Or
talk
it's like,
about
what's your
who are the
favorite era? It's like, who freaking cares, dude?
Yeah, but if you're talking about who are the top 3 best objectively best female artists in the world, like we're not talking about I this one indie person that I really like and nobody's ever heard of, but like it's Taylor Swift and Beyonce and like a couple other people, right? So like there's a reason I think that's appropriate for her to be up there.
So, we're already almost at 2.5 hours, so I don't really want to start this.
no, do
But
it. We're already
JMO,
there.
I
Let's
feel
go.
like JMO and I have had disagreements on this before. Like, you just coming in and saying like who are the best female artists, and then just going it's Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and somebody else. Like, I think we have total disagreements on what is labeled best. Like, popular does not necessarily mean best. Best selling does not necessarily mean best, in my opinion, because it's
Sure.
all subjective, because it's all an art. So like, absolutely not. Like, I agree with David. I think she's overrated. I think she's fine. Her music's not for me. Like, that will be
Yeah.
my first thing in saying it. So like,
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily bring her up as much as an overrated, because she's not necessarily like my top overrated. because she's not someone I would imagine myself liking anyway, and that's where like U2 comes in, because U2 sings a brand of rock that I could maybe like consider myself a fan of. Therefore, I think they're overrated because I don't like them. So that's why I wasn't even going to bring up Taylor Swift. But I think, like, no, I wouldn't consider her one of the top 3 female artists of the last little bit. Like, I mean, there's
I still do, but I still think she's crazy overrated. Like the fact you
but
can't
like
buy a
top
ticket.
in terms of what?
Well, like my overrated
I guess
is
that's
kind
my
of like
point.
more obsession. You know, like I think
Yeah.
she's
Oh, I agree.
really good, but like the level of the obsession about how good she is like.
I think that her with her hits, if every single album was her first album, her hits would still be hits. Her hits aren't hits because her fans push it up to the top. Like every album has singles on it that are massively popular, and it's not just because of the Taylor Swift fans. Like if every single one of those albums was her first album and you had never heard of her, those songs would still be hits because they're good. She's thrown away more hits than other people could ever even dream of writing.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that statement. I think she gets a lot of love for who she is. Like, look what you made me do. You think that would have gone big if it wasn't coming out of Taylor Swift?
I mean, look at like the
Yes.
Chiefs. Like that's a perfect example of like, is she overrated? Like she goes to the game and it's like like all of our fans are buying Travis Kelce jerseys and like stuff like that.
So
like,
personality or music overrated?
I think we both agree. I think we both agree
Well, I think
that
it's just
obsession
one.
is overrated. Like
That's
I completely
for
agree.
sure.
But I also think the music is overrated, but not
I
necessarily.
think the music's
to this
good,
level,
but yeah, I think the fandom is obsessed like crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
To the
There's
point where it makes
so
it
many like
overrated.
indie artists that I'd put above her. Like if we're talking about that. So I know you said without putting indie artists, but I mean like Adele's better than Taylor Swift. Like, I'll say that without question.
I almost was gonna go with MGK too because
Yeah.
he's also
He is not a
overrated.
better female artist than Taylor Swift.
No, I was just saying like as far as
Nice.
overrated goes. But he
Yeah,
probably
I completely agree with that.
identifies as female now, so you never know.
Good.
He's married to Megan Fox.
Thought they were. Nah, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
thing.
I don't
Never
think
mind.
so. I think that's
Can we
all
end
it
this? I'm done with this.
Okay. That's it for us here on Context Matters. Thanks again to Hyatt Trucks. Check us out on YouTube at Context Does Matter and Spotify and wherever else you can get your podcasts at the Context Matters Podcast. Follow along with us on Twitter at Context M Podcast and Facebook at the Context Matters Podcast that we will be keeping reactions and discussion going all off season long. Reminder to email us at the Context Matters Podcast at gmail.com. Reminder, fantasy, if you would like to get in the inaugural Context Matters Fantasy Football League, please let us know. Also, any of your ideas, takes, or anything you want to see on the show. David made the call out for Cooky Corner topics for him to research. I'm Bill, along with David and JMO. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye, bye, bye.